All right. Greetings, my friends. Good to see you guys here. Let's see what's going on in the chat so far. Shane Barber, first. Greetings. Miss M, Phantom Knight 24. Adi Dur, Bones is back. Greetings. The other Miss M, greetings, my friend. Element 115, Sinister Potato. Amy Hollis, Mike Jumbo Jet. Ed Mubarak. And Linda, Life's Best Davies, me, myself, and I. Greetings. Clean Linen Bleach Ja Jonkin. Cindy, hello there. Let's see here. So what do we got tonight? Ghost Mummy, greetings, my dear friend. How are you? If you guys don't know, Ghost Mummy and I actually have a project coming up in the near future. Just got her lines last night, if I'm not mistaken. Excellent narrator, one of my new favorites, really. Guys, go check her out if you get a chance. Skinwalker Stories. I actually have, if you look back in my timeline, a couple videos ago I had a Skinwalker story called Curse of the Skinwalker, and I actually recently got a part 2 to that very same story, which I haven't really put together just yet, but that's on the agenda, so don't worry. Bafty Zero, greetings, my friend. And a wonderful evening it is. Down here in South Florida, it's really nice outside. But I voluntarily choose to spend my time in here with you in my little makeshift sound studio. It's just as nice in here. Omni Providentia, greetings, my friend. Namaste. Alright, so I've got a few things planned today for you guys to enjoy with me while we hang out together for maybe an hour or two. So, EJ, I'll call you E. That sounds good to me. I have a story, very interesting story that I haven't really found a good place for. It's not a long story. I have it all written out and everything, but it just wouldn't really fit well in a standalone video. It's just a little too short and a little too light for my taste. But I figured, since we're going to be hanging out together today, I might as well read that. Once the audience peaks a little bit, I know people are still trickling in here and there, and I know this was extremely short notice, so for everybody that showed up last minute notice, like I just said this a few hours ago that I was going to do this today, something came up and I happen to have a couple hours of free time. So thanks so much to you guys for coming through at such short notice. This is a lot more people than I was expecting, with such a rude request of me to ask you to stop your Saturday right in the middle of it, or towards the end of it if you're in the UK, because after all, this is a stream meant for kind of, I don't like it whenever I do a stream a normal time frame like 10 p.m. Eastern time. I feel so bad for my friends in the UK that are up at 3 in the morning trying to listen to me and struggling to keep their eyes open. It's simply not fair. So I want to, whenever I do get the chance, give you guys a little bit more wiggle room there. So it should be about 8 p.m. in UK time. So hopefully I'll get a couple of you guys over there during this stream. I know a few of you are already around. But a little bit later on, I'll be reading that story. If you guys have any questions for me in the meantime, feel free to drop it in the chat. And actually, I'm going to anoint Ghost Mummy as one of my moderators. Let's see, I need another one. Somebody who's old school. If you've been around for a long time and you would like to be a moderator and help me out until my guest of honor arrives a little bit later on, let me know in the chat here, and I will knight you for this live stream. So keep an eye on the chat. Make sure that you're paying attention if I miss a question or I miss something that I need that needs my attention in the chat. If you could help me get to that, I would appreciate it. Normally I have a co-host to help me out with that, but right now I'm kind of waiting for that to happen. We might just be getting a visit from the lovely Stephanie Swan Quills, old friend of mine. I mean, she's not that old, but she and I started working together in the early days of both of our channels, or the early days of my channel at least. I think she's been around a little bit longer than I have. And as people begin to trickle in, greetings, my friends. If I haven't greeted you by name, I'm sorry, but I will do my best to do that. Malchin Fly, greetings. The question is, what is this? It is a YouTube live stream featuring who I hope is your favorite narrator of all time. But probably not. Junkin, you said you haven't joined a Mr. X Dreams live stream in ages. Yeah, you do live in the UK, and I owe it to you, because it really hurts my heart whenever somebody is telling me that they've been sitting there trying to stay up as long as they can, but it's 2:30 in the morning and they have someplace to be in 4 hours. That's a no-go. That's not cool for me. So I'm glad I can take some time every so often to help you guys out a little bit and give you a chance to, really give myself a chance to hang out with you, because it's not like it's some privilege to hang out with me or anything. I consider it a privilege to be able to speak to you guys real time, live, and, have some fun along the way, hopefully. Tariko, greetings, my friend. Blossom of 77, greetings. Let's see here. Bafty Zero, did I say hello to you? Dr. Blue, my good friend, greetings. Vinny Rad 82, what's up indeed? That is a good question. Gloria, hello there. Okay, all right. So, how's everybody been doing lately? I know I haven't checked in with a lot of you, except for the people who follow me on Twitter. You can talk to me anytime on there, and I always respond. But let me know what you guys are thinking. What's on your mind? How have you been doing? I've been doing pretty good myself. Let's see here. E wants to know if you should share your paranormal experience here. Just happened yesterday. Double audio thing. Yeah, go ahead. Write it up and try to be as succinct and as brief as possible so that I can actually get through it. And we'll go from there. We'll start a discussion, maybe even. I'm sure you're not the only one. I know I've had that double audio error in my brain a few times. Actually just happened to me a couple of weeks ago. Wait a minute. I feel like I missed something. Me, myself, and I. Is it your birthday today? Is that what I'm getting? Okay, it's for Monday. Well, if I don't see you, happy birthday. Alex, my homeboy, what's up, man? How's it going? I appreciate that, Amy. Thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that. Sinister Potato asks, what double audio error? But before that, a couple of other people asked some questions. Somehow I didn't catch that because this chat does tend to jump around on me a little bit. Okay, let me see. I'll switch up the graphics a little bit for you guys so you have something else to look at. You can look at my obscured face with layers of special effects while I talk about this stuff. Jenkins, you've been a ride or die for a while now. Yes. Yeah, logistics of time zones can be something else, you know, it can be a problem. But I'm glad you like the stories and you listen to me when you have a chance. I appreciate that. Shane Barber cooking meatloaf, 5 pounds. Goodness gracious, who are you feeding? Maybe you have an army of small children waiting to just rip that apart. And you just toss it into their cribs or something, and they just destroy it. That's a pretty weird thing to feed to a baby that's in a crib, but I hope you don't feel offended. That's just the first image that popped into my mind because that's how it goes when you're Mr. X. Your mind immediately creates bizarre scenarios out of every obscure thought that comes into your head. Started following me on Instagram, Phantom Knight. Thank you. That's good to hear. Okay, let me see if I can get this. What is my inspiration for my... I assume you meant art, since you said ARY and the Y is right next to the T on the keyboard. So using my powerful deductive reasoning, inspiration for my art. Well, I have this fascinating inability to draw things as I see them. I'm not good at drawing. I can't really look at an object or a person especially and just draw as I see. I can only kind of draw the things that come into my mind. So if I see or hear something that I find interesting, I conjure up that image in my mind, and it's a lot easier for me to bring that to life than just, say, for example, looking at something. Is Incubus real? That is coincidentally the very story that Ghost Mummy and I are working on right now. It's a good question. There's a lot of people in this world that would attest that they are real, and I'm no one to doubt that or to call them out on that, because if you were to hear about some of the encounters and some of the experiences that people have emailed me about, it's really a terrifying subject matter, and it's not often things that it sounds like somebody made up out of whole cloth. It sounds extremely authentic and believable and sincere to me. So, but then again, I find it difficult to balance in life ideologically the belief in evidence, things that can be proved and things that can be proven or tested, versus things that are sort of beyond that at the time, for the time being. Perhaps there will be a day where we have the technology or the ability to measure the numinous, the things that we can't really comprehend or explain right now, because as many of you know, magic is commonly referred to as being technology that we just don't understand yet, or science that we don't understand yet. a long time ago. There are a lot of things that we take for granted now that were not too long ago considered magic, witchcraft. If somebody was to if you were to take an iPhone 3 from years and years ago and take it back to 1970 even, people would be terrified of you. They'd be wondering what in the world crazy alien technology you were messing with. And if you go far back enough in time, that'd get you killed. So I don't doubt that there's a possibility that someday we will be able to examine those things in greater detail. Lisana Nico Robin, or Lizana, greetings, my friend. Suriname, wow. I'm not even quite sure where that is. I'm feeling a bit uncultured at the moment because of that. I'm going to have to look that up. Dr. Blue, yes, I did start acting classes, and I might say they're going quite well. It's a very interesting experience, and I'm actually really digging it. I like it a lot. Thanks for asking. Alex is chilling with the homies tonight. That's good. Just be safe and make sure you don't get into any trouble, which I already know you won't. I have faith in you, Alex. Let's see. E was playing an MMORPG online. Volume of your TV was low, and the rest of the house was silent. Your roommate's dog was sleeping next to you, and you heard the voice of a man and woman in your right ear. I know exactly how that feels. Let me ask you this, E. What were they talking about? Were you able to comprehend and hear what they were talking about? Because when I was at home watching TV, and then all of a sudden I heard a woman washing dishes and just talking, I couldn't tell what in the world she was actually saying for some reason. Thanks, Ghost Mummy. I know I'm like way behind with the chat. I'm gonna try to breeze through this as much as I can, because I do tend to get a little long-winded with even the simplest of questions. So, let's see. We'll keep going. Miss M, I'm glad you liked the visuals there. Sounded like static audio and you didn't know where it came from. Submit it to me in an email. Well, that's not, unless you could submit it to me in an email if you want to, E, but that's not really a story material. But if you just want to have a talk about it and discuss it, then feel free to do so. Gloria, I'm glad you liked the fight video. If you guys haven't watched that video, the one that I released a couple days ago, I do show my face in that video, but that's besides the point. The real point is that pretty much no matter where you are in the world, the information that I offer in that video is it's very good to have kind of stored in your back pocket. Keep it in your mind every so often. I won't bore you too much with the details of it, but if you have a chance, please go check that video out and share it with whoever, it's not monetized or anything, but I would like you to share it with whoever is in your circle. And thank you for the compliment. I've been told I do have kind of a strong glare when I want to. Yeah, I am realizing that I'm way far behind. Abe Hertz, greetings, friend, and thank you for the long-lived support. And Omni Providencia, you said your son says my eye is freaking awesome. I appreciate that. All right, sleepy time. Greetings, my friend. Spooky stuff going on in Suriname. How do you pronounce that? Suriname. If you'd like to send me an email about that, I'd love to listen to it. I'd love to listen to your story. Shadow of Anarchy, greetings, my friend. Dimensions of Life's Best Davies. There's more on heaven and earth than we know or will ever know. I definitely agree with you on that. South America, okay, I get it. All right, it looks like the audience numbers are evening out pretty well at this point. So if you guys don't mind, I'm going to get ready to read this story in just a minute or two. Let's see here. Okay, Muhammad Sharif or Sharef. Greetings, friend. You said you've had sleep paralysis. How terrifying was your sleep paralysis? Because if it was really terrifying, then maybe you should send me an email and describe it to me. Because I am putting together a part 2 and possibly a part 3 of sleep paralysis stories. If it's got to be a particularly an extremely intense and horrifying version of sleep paralysis, because honestly, I mean, if I love to hear these types of stories, but if it's not very notable, it would just be a conversation between me and the person who wants to tell me about it, rather than me putting out a video that might not be that interesting to everyone else. But by all means, let me know what you went through, because I seem to be a magnet for these types of things, and I'd love to hear your story. I just missed that Dr. Blue had to step out. I hope you have a good night, my friend, if we don't hear from you. Okay, Eve of Horror, greetings. Missed you. You slid into the chat there pretty subtly. Tracy Nelson, greetings, my friend, and I'm glad you appreciated the video. All right, let's see here. I'm getting towards the end, guys. Galactic, greetings. One of the most underrated YouTubers out there. I appreciate that. Thank you very much for the compliment. Larry and Candace, greetings. I hope you're having a great day. Okay. Thank you, Ghost Mummy. I missed that Sleepy Times question there. Are there any more original stories coming along like The Dreamer? Man, that is, if you guys don't know, I talk about it every time somebody mentions it. I take the opportunity to talk about it. The Dreamer is like my magnum opus of the work that I've done on this channel. It's the thing that I've spent the most time on, and the thing that I'm the most proud of, because it's literally it's like a 4.5 hour audiobook that I wrote just for YouTube, and had a great time with it. And I really do plan on writing a sequel story. It's actually supposed to be a trilogy, but as you can tell, I mean, with all these other, at the time that was the only project I was doing on YouTube. It was just that story for the most part. It was maybe a couple little other dream videos about my nightmares, but right now I have so many other things that I have to do with this channel that it's hard for me to sit and just take a month to write a whole story like that. And but I will do it one day. I'm still developing and working on that story. Senkin, greetings. Coag Music, an old school friend of mine. Greetings, my friend. Thank you for the compliment. I need to refresh myself on some of your work as well. Yeah, only somebody from back in the day would bring up The Dreamer. That's extra special. All right. That's interesting. Tell me, how do you know Muhammad, how do you know, or what gives you the sense that the people you see in your dreams are Jewish? I wonder about that. That's an interesting statement. And also, speaking of dreams, later on, a little bit later on, I'm going to tell you guys about a very interesting dream I had the other day that kind of, I think I got some type of a glimpse into what may be just an aspect of dreams, kind of along the lines of a collective consciousness or something like that. And I'd like to know what you guys think about it. So we'll talk about that after the story. Gonzalez, greetings, my friend. Okay, Muhammad, I see your comment there. That's interesting. Very interesting indeed. All right, so let me prepare this. Let me prepare this story for you guys so that we can get into it. I'll maneuver this so I can kind of see the chat at the same time. I'm doing well, Alex. I hope you're doing well as well. Having fun on that Fortnite LAN party. That sounds like fun. All right. So, cue the story time creepy music. So, like I said, this is a story about something. I'll just let you hear it as you go along, but it's kind of on the shorter side, and it doesn't really have enough detail in it to warrant putting it in with any specific thing. It's kind of it kind of stands on its own in a lot of ways. So I wanted you guys to hear it at some point or another, so here it goes. I'll just read it to you now. Right after I take a sip of water. Dear Mr. X, you can call me Doc. I left you a comment a while back about a very strange house. As you requested, here's the story. Like I said before, there's this little strange house that sits at the very edge of a large, extremely foreboding bog that my wife and I have to drive past every once in a while. Oddly, we've seen a for sale sign up there on occasion. Sometimes the sign is there, and others it's replaced with one that reads, "No trespassing." One day, perhaps against our better judgment, my wife and I decided to check out the house up close. We'd never seen anyone there before, so we figured no one would notice. We pulled over in front of the property one afternoon and walked up the front steps. A large, black water snake slithered out from between the boards of one of the steps and into the severely unkempt bushes nearby. I felt an eerie chill go down my spine when I noticed the front door had been open slightly ajar. I got this weird feeling that our little visit was somehow expected. I almost feel silly admitting that we took the invitation and walked right in. The first thing we noticed upon entering was a large pickaxe lying on the living room floor. Not far from it was the yawning black chasm of a cellar entrance. It bore a striking resemblance to the cellar from the Evil Dead films, except for one glaring difference. There was no door whatsoever with which to close it. It was just an open, rectangular pit in the middle of the living room floor. The rays of sunlight spilling in through the yellow-stained glass windows illuminated the rest of the few steps into the house. But anything further was shrouded in complete darkness. The air was thick with the smell of mold, and you could taste the stagnation and rot that had long since taken hold of the property. As my eyes adjusted to the darkness, I was confronted by the off-putting sight of parts of the ceiling drooping down due to years of leaks and moisture damage. I joked with my wife saying, "Oh look, the ceilings are getting lower again. It's almost like a mouth closing." That didn't do much to calm her nerves, and I could see that she was getting increasingly anxious. That was when my wife decided it was time to get out of there before something bad happened. We both got this feeling that there was more to that house than met the eye, like the house itself was some sort of living thing that had only taken the form of a house. Being there, it didn't seem far-fetched to imagine a giant gaping esophagus just below the dark rim of the cellar entrance, quivering in anticipation whenever a potential meal curiously walks in through the door. I still wonder if the house just manifests that for sale sign out front to lure people in, attract prey when it needs to feed. Perhaps when people wander in too far or stay for too long, they never leave. The house just digests them alive, allowing it to remain dormant for a while, replacing the for sale sign with one that reads "No trespassing." Maybe it saves the bones or clothing of its victims just in case it needs to conjure up a realtor to entice its future meals. As you can tell, my imagination has run wild with these ideas, but if you had ever been in that house, I assure you, it wouldn't sound quite as crazy. Another strange thing is that the lawn in front of the house can sometimes be seen neatly trimmed, far too well for such a decrepit old building. However, a week later it would look like it had been abandoned for years, overgrown to the point where the swamp was close to reclaiming the land entirely. If you're interested, I can stop by there with a friend and get some photos of the house for your video. Let me know. Thanks for listening, Mr. X. Sincerely, Doc. So as you can see, it's kind of on the shorter side, but I thought that story raised a few interesting questions. So I basically discussed back and forth with the gentleman that sent me this video, known as Doc, and we kind of threw back and forth our theories about what that could be, because obviously, I mean, I wouldn't assume that, yes, this is actually a house that is a living creature, a living being, like something out of, I don't know, I'm dating myself here, but Alone in the Dark, a game that came out a long time ago. There was a room, you're in this haunted mansion, and there's a room where you open it up, you open the door, and there's just a giant throat there, and you will easily get pulled or sucked into that room and eaten by the house itself. And Doc even mentioned that, you know, he had this feeling almost like it was something similar to a Sarlacc, if you ever seen Star Wars. I think it's Empire Strikes Back, where Boba Fett gets eaten, or supposedly, allegedly eaten by a Sarlacc, the giant maw in the ground with the teeth. That's kind of the vibe that Doc got from it. So, let me know what you guys thought about that story. Let's see, antisocial villain. Greetings. Raven, hello there, my dear. Good to see you. Return of the Jedi. Okay, that's where that was. Thanks, guys. I'm afraid I'm a little bit lacking in my Star Wars nerdery. Okay. All right, let's see here. So that was the story that I had for you guys today. And that I just kind of wanted to get it out there so that somebody could hear it, and I could see what you guys thought about it. Hope you liked it. And that one's probably not going to actually end up in its own video because you can see how short it was. A video game like that, where you're just in a house and the house is alive and trying to eat you. I also thought of when I was discussing this house, I was thinking about the concept, the idea of people moving into the house, and even though it's a disgusting, decrepit, old, nasty-looking house and it's all messed up, them just kind of happily moving into it, like there's some kind of pheromone or something in there that makes them seem totally fine with the idea of moving in there. They go in and they just sit there for as long as it takes for them to basically get consumed by the house. Like they eventually just start molding and just melding into the walls or into the floor of the house, and they just don't even seem to know that anything's going wrong. That's like kind of the stuff of a horror movie, like a body horror type movie. Me, myself, and I, you're turning 39 on Monday. That's, you got me by a couple of years. That's no worries. Hey, it's not old. You're not old yet. So don't even worry about it. Monster House. Is Monster House one of those kid movies, like the 3D, not quite Pixar, maybe like DreamWorks or something like that? I feel like I've heard of that before. Chuki L, greetings. Mike Fox, hello there, my friend. Melancholy thoughts, huh? Do tell, Mike Fox. Whenever somebody says something like that in my streams, we always we rally around you like a circle of wagons and do what we can to lift your spirits a little bit. Haley B, greetings. Sounds like possession, life's best, Davies. So that's an interesting question, if a house can be possessed. I'm definitely not the one to ask that, because I don't have a lot of experience with dealing with possessions in general, but that's an interesting concept for sure. Yeah, you see that, Mike Fox? People are already trying to help. That's what we do around here in the family of Mr. X Dreamers. That's how we do. We help each other out. We don't leave people behind unless they really, really, really want to be left behind. Because at the end of the day, there's only but so much you can do. Been waiting for me to go live. Chuki L, where are you? Are you in the United States, or are you in the UK? Or somewhere else, somewhere in between, somewhere outside of those two? Let me know. Because I can't really think of any other major time zones other than my normal time zone, Eastern Standard Time, and then the GMT, like typical like London time. I don't really know of any other major time frames that are, or time zones rather, that are typically left out, or that are particularly difficult to get to my streams on. And if you fall into that, if you're watching this right now and it's 2 a.m. and you got to work on Sunday, or and it is Sunday for you, then let me know, and then I might even add a third time frame into the mix over here, so that I can have a chance to hang out with all of you. Or as many of you as possible, anyway. Springtrap, greetings, my friend. Thanks for coming, and I'm glad I didn't have to make you wake up at 3 in the morning this time. Omni, yes, please do email that to me. Thanks, Ghost Mummy, I appreciate that. Alright, let's see here. Spirits were there before you moved there, and after, as you've heard from the next tenants. Did I miss something there, Davies? Okay, you lived in a few haunted houses. Alright, that's what it was. Mike Fox, you said, Dark Waters, my man, coming through with a $10 super chat. I appreciate that, my friend. By the way, I heard one of your live streams recently, and I was cracking up a little bit. I will admit that. Thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate that. If you guys don't know, Dark Waters is an old friend of mine, and yeah, we've done a lot of good work together. I appreciate that donation very much. Let's see here. Mike Fox, you said you have constant thoughts that your attempts to make your art passion into a job will end nowhere, lead nowhere but a failed attempt. You'd like to get more attention to your comic book characters, but no such luck. Well, tell me about your passion, Mike Fox. Tell me about your comic book characters and well, don't tell me too much because I don't want anybody to be able to steal your ideas. But give me a general overview of what's going on there. Yeah, because I'll be honest with you. I've had my fair share of being snubbed and not getting people to recognize the art forms that I tried to put out before. I've spoken to comic book artists and different things, and I've even made my own comic books a couple times. And aside from the fact that I can never seem to devote enough time to it to see a whole project through, with one exception, it's not an easy industry to break into, and the best thing that I could really recommend is starting something on your own and trying to get some traction on your own, and have that be your hobby or your backup. I would never recommend just diving full force into that type of thing unless you can get an actual job with a company that does things along those lines. That's definitely not the easiest avenue to go down. But yeah, I definitely would like to know a little bit more about your ideas there. Jules Frazier, greetings. Good to see you. Oh, Springtrap, you're gonna go wake up Joanne, is that right? Be careful, I don't want her to be mad at me. What's she doing asleep right now anyway? It's only like 9 o'clock over there. She's in the opposite of an early riser, I guess. Okay, let's see. It's Mr. Xavier. That sounds strange. Okay, I see you corrected that. I bet a lot of people probably assume that my name is Xavier, but it's not. The Wolf Dream Story, Aaron England. I didn't greet you, Aaron England, did I? Can you explain which Wolf Dream Story you mean? Because there are a couple of them. And Ghost Mummy, thanks for reminding me about that. Chuki, thanks for the compliment. I'm glad you enjoy the art. Bones is back. You are Bones is back. That's interesting. I mean, your name is very appropriate right now. Okay, you work on a Miss Mike Fox. You work on a free comic book series called TNP, fantasy and sci-fi series. Has a comedy and drama. I assume as a secondary characteristic of it. That sounds pretty cool to me. I think you should try to use social media and push that as much as you can, but don't lean on it. Don't rely on it too much, because it's like YouTube. When you get into YouTube, unless you just blow up immediately and start making tons of money, you can't rely on this for a source of employment. Really, it's you just have to do it until, if and when it ever comes around and enough people get into it and like it, then you go from there. But I mean, definitely go for it and put everything you've got into it that you can, but don't be skipping out on putting food on the table to chase a dream that's not likely to pay off immediately in the immediate future. That's just my advice. At the end of the day, you will do as you wish. But yeah, if you want to post a link or something to your comic, or give us some kind of way of locating it, I'm sure there's a few people that'd be interested in checking it out. I'll check it out myself for sure. All right. Jules Frazier, says, I positively loved the survival PSA you released. Absolutely had to comment on it, as your comments were so passionately spoken. Again, thank you for them, and greetings to you. Well, that is exactly the way I felt doing that video. I mean, I am passionate about this, and it's something that is, like I said in the video, is very near and dear to my heart. So again, if anyone has not seen that video, my previous video where, the live video where I show my face and I'm talking to the camera, it's about a very important topic that involves criminal and active shooter awareness type of mental training and exercises and things that you can do to keep yourself as safe as possible when, God forbid, stuff starts going down. So make sure, if you have a chance, watch that video, share it to whoever you can, because if those ideas and those common things that a lot of people neglect in their mind, if that saves one person, I will consider it a success. Even if it just, you never know what you can avoid even being saved from, just by keeping certain things in the front of your mind every so often. Okay. You know what, Aaron England, I knew that, I figured that's the dream that you were talking about when you said that. And I was just thinking about that dream very recently, just like a day or two ago. I was thinking about it because I saw some image that reminded me of the city that I saw in that dream. So I will tell you guys about that in a few minutes, as soon as I catch up with these comments. You made the series to get past your sadder days, and the cast consists of 4 friends that have many adventures. First comic in the main series is shaded but now digital color book. White Ghost, greetings, my friend, and I hope you're having a great night. Pumpkin Joanne, hello there. You made it. I'm glad you think I'm a handsome young man. I appreciate that. Thank you, Ghost Mummy, for the reminder there. Yeah, okay. No worries, Davies. My stuff is online, ready, and waiting for your consumption at your convenience. I will never hold anything against someone for not having caught up on my videos. That is not a problem, my friend. Yeah, I've actually given that speech about the active shooter stuff and the crime awareness thing. I've spoken to that about so many different people that I realized I have enough of an audience on YouTube that it might make a difference if I was to talk about that, on my channel, and I'm glad that it's getting a pretty positive response. Very glad about that. And the more people see that, the more people have had those scenarios and pointers go through their mind, and that's definitely a plus. Okay. All right. It looks like you know what? It totally slipped my mind, but I actually also meant to bring a guest or two on to the show today. So if you guys give me 1 second, I'm going to see if I can arrange a couple of co-hosts to come on and hang out, because I'd like to play a little bit of either.io or Etherio or Itherio or Itherio or whatever people call it. And you know what? Since my two latest YouTube friends and collaborators are in the chat right now, I'll invite you guys to. Matter of fact, I'm gonna make Raven a moderator. But Raven and Ghost Mummy, would you guys like to jump on real quick and talk to us? You guys, if you haven't heard their voices, they have two very distinct, very different voices, unlike pretty much anyone else that I've heard. So there's not gonna be any confusing the two of them if they happen to be free at the moment and can jump on and talk with us. But this will be your sneak peek, and then you can go later on and check out their channels. I know it takes a minute or two to get everything settled and lined up for all of us to be on the line at the same time. But I think we can pull it off. Hopefully we don't end up with a bit of a snafu like we had last time. I tried to bring on a couple of guests. All right, I just sent you guys a couple of what do you call it?
Hi.
There we go. Hey there, Ghost Mummy.
Yes, can you hear me?
I hear you just fine. Does everybody else hear Ghost Mummy in the background there?
Oh, hello. Hi, everyone.
All right. Raven, let me know if you got the invitation as well. Laurie Smith, I recognize you. Oh, you came here from Dark Waters. Maybe that's where I saw you. Greetings and welcome. I'm glad you were able to come by. Dark Waters was here a minute ago. He might be lurking around, in the dark as usual. But yeah, I'm glad. I'm grateful that the people that come from Dark Waters are always super supportive and friendly. So I always like hearing somebody came from over there. So Ghost Mummy, how's it going?
Yeah. I'm shy.
Oh yeah, you're all shy now that a couple other people are listening, huh?
I wasn't expecting this.
Weren't you? I thought I warned you about this.
No, you did not.
Am I on?
Yes, you
Oh,
are.
hi, Raven. Hello, Blossom.
Hello.
All right.
Hi,
Greetings.
Raven.
Oh my goodness. You know what, guys? I think that a significant portion of my live stream viewers are possibly clairvoyant, because this is the second time someone has directly mentioned an obscure idea or project that I've worked on or thought about within the last 24 hours. That's really bizarre, because somebody just mentioned when's the next mind travel video, and I literally just pulled that up right, an hour or two before we started this stream. So that's really interesting. I'm working on a bunch of different things right now, but eventually that will come back around the bend. I promise. You hear me okay, Raven?
I can. And you guys can hear me, correct?
Yes, I hear you.
I hear you, yeah.
Perfect.
You guys sound really good. Yep,
Thank you.
I am now
Thank you.
I am now completely outnumbered. So hopefully they don't team up against me and try to take me down.
No.
No, never.
All right, so let's see here. I am going to, well, first, someone asked me to tell this dream that I had, which that's the other thing that I thought about literally yesterday or the day before yesterday. And it's not too long, and maybe we can talk about it a little bit afterwards if you guys have had any similar dreams, or if you, Ghost Mummy and Raven, have had any bizarre dreams along these lines.
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay, yeah.
this is one of the oldest dreams that I can remember. One of the earliest dreams that I had many years ago, and to this day I kind of struggle to make sense of it. But it seemed at the time so natural and just sensible when I was there. And I kind of, there were certain things that were hidden from me, and there were certain things that I just understood. I took in the information just by observing my environment around me and seeing what was going on. But I had a very special guide. So in this dream, I woke up on the side of a grassy hill, and it was one of the most beautiful and comfortable moments of my life. It's just laying on this huge hill with tufts of grass, bright green, and there was this wonderful breeze. It was the perfect temperature. It was nice and brisk. And I get up, stand up. I don't remember how I was dressed. I think I had on some very light pants, and maybe a shirt, like an A shirt or something like that. I don't recall that. But I start walking around, and I notice there's this gigantic wolf standing right in front of me. So the wolf motions to me to just start walking and follow him. And as I'm walking, I'm looking over the hillside, and I can see that there's this gigantic city. And if you've ever seen, I don't know, like maybe a city in North Korea or something that's just completely abandoned, if just by looking at a city, you kind of know innately if it's totally empty and there's no human activity there. You don't see any movement, you don't see any cars or anything like that. Nothing that you would normally expect to see, say, looking out the window in a high rise in Manhattan or something like that. So I look there and I see that it's just this abandoned city, but I also notice that there are vines and leaves growing through from everywhere, like even on skyscrapers. There are windows shattered, and I could see hundreds of birds flying out of windows, and just whole flocks of birds coming out from behind buildings. And the cars, it was almost like the movie with Will Smith. What was that movie? Where he's fighting vampires. He's like the last human being left. I can't remember what that movie was called. But it was similar to that, where there were cars on the streets, but it was just everything was totally reclaimed by nature. Hey there, Nix. Oh my goodness, I wasn't expecting you to show up there. Nix is a old friend of mine, and I need to talk to you pretty soon, Nix. I'll send you a message a little bit later. So anyway, I'm walking with this wolf, and he's talking to me. And I noticed that, he's talking to me, but his mouth isn't moving. He's just talking and looking at me as he's talking. And as I'm walking along this hillside, just staring at this giant city that's abandoned and taken over by nature, I'm seeing different animals all over the place, like monkeys and gorillas, and I can hear them chattering almost like they're all speaking English, like my own language. And I was so bewildered. I looked at the wolf and I said, I asked him, I said, how are you all able to talk? This doesn't make sense. And the wolf looked at me and said, just because we don't talk to you doesn't mean we can't talk. And that blew my mind.
Wow.
So he was, and actually,
That's crazy.
yeah, something the first thing that the wolf said to me, which I kind of forgot to mention, soon when I woke up and I saw the wolf, the first thing he said to me was, "Hey, you're the last one. You're the last human being on Earth. So if we kill you, there would be none of you left." And he said that as like, to him, that was something that would be so amazing for there to not be any humans left. I could tell that's what he was, and he was basically speaking to me on behalf of nature.
So does that mean he would have been happy?
That's what he seemed
Humanity?
like. Yeah, that's what it seemed like to me. He said, "You're the last one, and if we kill you, there would be none left." And like, wouldn't that be fantastic? And obviously, I didn't think that would be fantastic, but it wasn't. It wasn't up to me. There was not going to be, unless I somehow gained the ability to asexually reproduce. If I'm really the last human being, that's it. We're done. And
yeah, Sean Kin says,
How-
yeah, it sounds like I Am Legend. Yeah,
yes, that's the movie that I was
Last
talking
Man on
about.
Earth. The original, I think, was called The Last Man on Earth.
Or Why the Last Man? No, or is that something else? No. Yeah,
No, that's-
something about the last man on Earth. You're right.
Yeah.
But this was
How
way
did
this is
you,
way before that movie came out, and way before I ever heard of the book.
How did you interpret that? Like, after you woke up, what were your thoughts? Like, the first things that came to your mind, what did you think?
As I recall, the first thing that came to my mind was that I wanted to be there longer. I missed it. I immediately regretted waking up, because I was thinking, man, I wanted to learn more about that world. And that happens to me quite a bit with my dreams. I have dreams where, and another one comes to mind that I just had a few days ago that I'll speak about a little bit later on, after I've given you guys a chance to talk. but you know, I was really thinking, because the wolf was over time got a little bit more friendly with me, even, and the way he said, "Hey, you know, you really think just because we don't want to talk to you human beings, you just assume that we are unable to speak. You assume we're
Yeah.
unable to communicate and be intelligent just because we don't talk to you because we don't want to. We don't like you.
Right,
That's
right.
the vibe that I was getting. You know, and because what would we do if an animal started talking to us? Somebody's gonna do something horrible to it eventually. They're gonna cut
Oh
it open, and they're gonna
no.
cut it open and look at its brain and try to figure out what happened. And not right now
Oh,
because we have more.
that's horrific.
Yeah, don't you think that if there was if those animals really if animals really could talk, say 100 years ago, would they? Maybe now they would because there's enough people who
Well,
actually care about animals and would actually want to
Right.
use scientific procedures to, instead of
I
vivisection,
still
instead of
yeah,
cutting them
I
open.
still think inevitably if that were to happen, unfortunately there would be people that would take these animals and dissect their brain and
Yeah.
maybe I'm just morbid, but yeah, I think they would. Regardless of the advances we have scientifically, I still think there would be those certain few that would just, totally disregard them, and so what? I must learn how this is happening. So,
I think they
mm,
probably can communicate, but we can't hear them. Man has usually, if we something doesn't do it his way, then it's not relevant. They don't have the vocal cords to communicate like we do,
Right.
so
right.
it's not possible. But they probably do communicate, but we just can't hear them. Maybe back in the day we could, but we just don't listen anymore.
Mm,
I also find it extraordinary
mm.
that you actually spoke to an animal. I dream a lot, and I've never actually ever spoken or had an animal communicate with me. So I really find that quite extraordinary.
Hmm. And that's of all the crazy dreams that I've had, and I've had
I
hundreds of them. That's the only time I remember talking to an animal.
Mm.
I find it very interesting that it would be that animal, just given, and you've been very open about this, how much you feel you're akin to wolves. So for that animal to be the one to show up and speak to you, I find very intriguing.
Hmm. Yeah, there must be some type of connection between the two. Omega Man, that is the name of the book. Indeed. Thank you to the 2 or 3 people that got that. Tariko actually was the person who got that. Good one. Okay, we have a comment here. Lisana. Can you please explain to me how to pronounce Lisana? Not sure. Your father died in 2016 during surgery. The night after the funeral, you dreamed that he came to you and was on the other side of the fence. Said everything was okay now. Didn't have to worry anymore. Strange but very clear. That's fascinating, and I
I've
hope
had a
I
lot of
hope that that
those
was
dreams.
correct.
Mm.
I hope that he's right, that there's nothing to worry about, and I'm sorry for your loss.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I've had quite a few of those dreams of people that have passed away that have come to me and have told me, you don't have to worry, everything is okay, along those lines. So that's fascinating to see. I'm always fascinated other people have those same types of dreams. I find it to be
Hmm.
more than coincidence.
Yeah, and you know what? And this is of particular interest to you, Raven, with your Haitian heritage.
Mm.
Video. I don't know if you saw this. It's an old video about a friend of mine, an elderly Haitian man named Rick, who his mother was basically turned into a voodoo zombie, and
I began to watch that, yes, and I had to go to work and I need to finish it. But what I had heard was very intriguing.
yeah, and there's a
It's not
particular.
uncommon, this voodoo, turning
Hmm.
people into voodoo zombies. It's very common in my heritage, especially voodoo, which is not necessarily Haitian, but more came it. Well, voodoo is Haitian, hoodoo is not, but it's very common. These frightening but common.
Hmm. And well, in this particular case, at one point in that video, you'll see that there was a time where after the mother was taken by the whoever awakened her from the graveyard and was taken away, Rick's sister, who was in Haiti at the time, got a dream or a vision with her mother coming to her and saying, someone took me far away and you're never going to see me again. And it's strange because she's, she as in the voodoo zombification process, the person is not actually dead. They're, they're just sort of in a decreased mental state that allows them to be, easily
trance-like state.
Okay, yes, something like that. And I thought it's strange that she would get the daughter would get a vision or a dream that way from someone who is still living, although not living in the way that she was before.
Right. She's between what we call between realms at that point.
Aaron England, how did you know about that dream? I'm curious why you would ask about it if you hadn't heard it already. I know every that's probably the second or third time I've described this since I've started YouTube, and each time it's probably slightly different depending on how I'm able to think and reminisce and think back and then articulate the story to you. But I wonder where you heard of it and what made you ask. So you guys both have interesting dreams on occasion, I assume. Is that right?
Probably Raven has more interesting ones than I do.
Oh, that sounds like a cop-out.
Maybe.
Yeah, I was going to let you go first.
No, I was going to allow you to go.
Tell us what it...
No, please do go first.
Oh, please do. Please go. Let's see, what's one of the ones that stick out the most to me? It was actually rather frightening. Some of you who may be subscribed to me as well, when I did a live stream, I spoke about one of the near-death experiences that I had. And shortly after experience, I remember lying in the hospital and this entity came to me, and I don't want to say it was the angel of death. I don't know what it was, but it was there, kind of in the corner, watching me, and it wasn't speaking to me with its lips. It was like, what's the word I'm looking for? Telepathic communication. And very cryptically said, you may have gotten away this time, but I have not forgotten you. And that was so scary to me. It was just so, and I remember it so clearly. And I almost took it like a threat, like, almost like it was upset. It was upset that I had made it. And so for it to just kind of stand there and be staring at me, waiting for me to acknowledge it, and what seemed like forever to me, and I'm sure it was only a few seconds, but when you're in these trance-like states or dream-like states, they seem much longer than the few seconds than they really are. But I remember thinking, I'm not going to acknowledge this thing because it felt very dark and ominous, and so I thought, well, I'm just going to ignore its presence. And eventually I realized it wasn't going to go away. And so I looked over at it, and once I had acknowledged it, it simply said, you've gotten away this time, but do not think that I have forgotten you. And it sent chills. Just, I can't explain, I can't even convey in words the amount of fear that sent into me. Because I forever now think, like, okay, this thing, whatever it may be, is just waiting for me. I haven't forgotten you. Are you coming for me? And so anytime I'm in a situation, actually, a couple weeks ago, I was driving with my roommate and we just barely, and I mean barely, missed a head on collision. And when things like that happen, I can't help but wonder, and this could just be, human paranoia, but I can't help but wonder, are these things happening as a way to, how can I explain it? Try to put me back where I belong, I guess, is the best
Yeah.
way I can explain it.
Yeah.
Like you're almost trying to kill me. And I
Mm.
know how very paranoid that sounds and way out there that sounds, but I can't help for a split think that he's almost, almost died or could have died or could have been a very bad situation. When these things happen, I wonder, okay, is that you coming to get me? Um, and of course, I've had a lot of very weird dreams of different types of entities and even weird dreams that don't have anything to do with entities. I remember I was young, maybe 14, 15 years old, and I had this dream where um, the climate changed. So imagine the weather in what the weather is like in New York and what the weather is like in, let's say, Los Angeles, California. Well, something happened where that completely switched and our climates changed. So for some reason, I don't know why that sticks out to me, but there was this complete switch around where something happened in the environment. Um, Ended up being that we were in an alternate sort of realm. So we were no longer in this realm. So they're in another dimension. There's this Earth, but the weather is completely different. So on the West Coast, it's very cold and the temperatures drop, and on the East Coast, it's very warm. Um, and why that sticks out to me so much, I don't know. It definitely,
Mm.
by far, is not one of the most scariest dreams I've had, but it really, for some reason, stuck with me, and I don't know why.
Hmm.
I think mainly because it was like a different, it was like there's an Earth that exists in another simultaneous dimension. So we're going into what would we call multiverse, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So it was kind of like that. And at that time, this wasn't even something that I had delved into or researched in the way that I do now. No fascination in it whatsoever. And so being 14, 15 years old, I don't remember which age it was, to have this multiverse dream where there's an entire different Earth in another universe that coexists on the same one we're in, but is a complete opposite as far as climate is concerned, was very
Mm-hmm.
interesting to me.
Yeah.
Um, but the scariest was this, and it happened right after I had come to, um, and yeah, it was just in the corner of the hospital room, and I really felt like it just was not going to leave until I acknowledged its presence. And for the its sole purpose was just to tell me, look, you're here now, but don't think that we've forgotten.
Hmm.
It was very scary. It still is to me. It still is to me.
Can
And
imagine. Yeah.
you know what's really terrible about that type of thing is that once something like that happens, it opens up kind of a door in your mind where you might be tempted to associate anything else weird that happens with that. So you just have to live the rest of your
Correct.
life just wondering, all right, yeah, like you said, all right, is this why this is happening to me? Is this entity
Yeah.
causing this?
Right.
It's like a state of
And
flux forevermore after that.
yeah, being a logical person who doesn't like to just immediately jump into this is paranormal, or some sort of mysticism, I like to first go with anything that could explain away logically. But being a human being, once something like that happens to you, yes, it's difficult to not ponder, even for the briefest moment. Could this be something that's more than a coincidence? Now, of course, the car accident could have just been, it would have inevitably happened whether I had that experience or not. And I just happened to be lucky, and she swerved, at the right time, and we missed that head on collision. But when things like that happen, I do. Even if sometimes I ponder it for longer than a second, you know, sometimes it will stick with me for the whole day. And other times it's just this brief second of, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, yeah, for the rest of my life that I live out, it's kind of hard not to wonder if it's something else that might not be taking place here.
Yeah.
And for it to be an ominous figure, you know, I could understand if it was something like, I guess I'll use angelic because that's kind of what people will relate to the most. I could understand if there was some kind of angelic being just standing there, like, you know, it's okay, it wasn't your time yet, you're still meant to do more. That would have been a lot more comforting than this thing standing in the corner demanding that I recognize it and telling me we haven't forgot. First of all, who is we? You know, who is
Mm-hmm.
who is this collective of we that has not forgotten me? Um, I don't know, and I still wonder. You know, okay, could it have just been um, the amount of you know I didn't have oxygen to my brain for a little over 3 minutes, and so let me explain that I shouldn't even be able to talk or walk or do any of the things that I do now. I should be brain dead and on life support. Because there's only a certain amount of time that the brain can survive without oxygen before you're brain dead. Um, and so I had to learn how to talk again and walk again and eat again and pretty much everything again I had to learn how to do. And they all told me that it would never happen. And here I am. So to digress a little bit, I did think, you know, perhaps this was just a hallucination. I have to consider that, you know, that
Right.
it was some sort of hallucination of some sort in an actual being that appeared to me. And I struggle with that. You know, did this really happen? Was it something that I experienced that was real and tangible? Or was it a hallucination due to the lack of oxygen in my brain and whatever drugs that they had put into me at that time? And I still don't have a concrete answer for that.
Well, let's
I'm
let's
not
just
one way
hope
or
that
the
it was
other.
the latter there. I'd much rather it be,
I
you
do,
know,
yes.
that than an actual
Me too.
evil entity stalking you for the rest of your life. To be honest.
Me too.
All right,
Yeah, me
let's
too.
let's get to some of these comments.
Ghost mummy? Oh yeah, comments.
1 second here. 'Cause I don't want, if we get too far behind, they're just gonna fall by the wayside. I wanted to.
Yeah, I should have been paying attention.
No, it's all good. You were telling a very, very interesting story that I'm sure not a lot of people, I hope not a lot of people can relate to, because
Me too.
it's not something I'd wish on anyone.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here. All right, my friend Stephanie Swan Quills is inbound. She's going to be here in just a few minutes,
Oh, cool.
and
Awesome.
you guys are going to meet her. Someone I've worked with for a long time, a couple of years now.
Very cool.
Yeah, 1 second. Okay, so Joshua Simmons told a very sad story about his father and a drug addiction.
Okay.
That's very unfortunate. I'm sorry to hear that. And there's really not much else I could say about that, honestly. And I want to say hello to Chaos Theory Productions. Thanks for coming down and hanging out. And also thanks for all you guys who supported Joshua Simmons in the chat as well. I appreciate you guys just giving some positive vibes towards Joshua at this time.
If I haven't responded to anything that you guys have said in chat, it's not that I'm ignoring you. I'm very new to live stream and paying attention to chat. So if you said anything to me and I didn't answer you, it definitely is not intentional. Please know that.
That sounds familiar.
Right,
Am I too
I hear
late
that
to the
often.
party?
No, better late than
not.
never.
Hello.
My deepest apologies for being late.
Hello.
You weren't late. Okay, so introductions. Everybody go. Wait, one at a time. Okay. Steph, you please introduce yourself to my dear friends, Ghost Mummy and Raven.
Okay, well, I go by the name of Stephanie Swan Quills. I'm a narrator specializing in horror and fantasy stories, mostly poems and short stories. I also write, record, and make my own series of ASMR role plays. I'm still new to that, but I have a feeling most of my subscribers know me from that now. I've been doing narrations for a couple of years now, and as of last night, I'm also a Twitch streamer as well.
Congratulations. It sounds like
Thank you.
fun. All right. So, next up, Ghost Mummy, introduction.
Hi, I'm Ghost Mommy, and I've been narrating for about 6 months now. I have a little channel. So I narrate creepypasta, some no sleep, a lot of that. Yeah, that's it really. Very small channel.
Also awesome.
Thank
One
you.
of my favorites.
Thanks.
No pressure. All right, Raven.
I am Raven Lavina. I've been doing horror narration for a little over a month now. I do creepypastas. I do true horror stories, and I've just recently, very recently, started doing videos on my path on Hoodoo, and so that's what I do. I've been told that I'm choppy, so I hope that fixes itself. I don't know if I should leave and come back in, or
It's not too bad right now.
okay. So yes, I'm very new, and that's what I do. I do creepy pastas, and I do let's not. I do anything. Let's not meet. I would love to start once I get a bigger following, viewer submissions of their stories, and like I said, I just recently started to decide to do separate videos on my path and Hoodoo, which I've grown up in.
And
That's all I have to say.
is a little special, very interesting piece of the puzzle here with Raven Lavina. Once upon a time, she was a listener of the
Yes.
horror community. I mean, she one day just decided to get into it. It seems like she's enjoying herself so far, and I certainly welcome her into the horror narration community. And so
Thank you.
if you guys, you sitting at home, ever feel like trying your hand at it, why not just give it a shot? You know, Raven is a clear
Absolutely.
example that
Absolutely
you can
agree.
do that. You know, if you
Yeah.
want to do it, just try it out. Why not? You will have my support,
Yeah.
and I will tell you everything I know.
Yeah, Mr. X
you.
was very helpful when I first decided, hey, I think I want to do this. He was very quick to say, hey, in any way that I can help you, I'll give you, tips. Especially when it came to audio editing and video editing. So he was very supportive, along with other people. I got a lot of support when I started this. So I encourage any of you guys who are a fan and you think, hey, I think I want to try this. I definitely say go for it. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You have some fun,
Absolutely.
So I agree with that. But yes, I was a fan of a lot of you long before I decided, hey, maybe I'll try this. Yeah.
And by the
So
way,
it's always humbling for me.
absolutely. By the way, there's going to be links to all three of these lovely young ladies' channels in the description box of this video. I don't know if it's
Thank you
there
most
yet,
kindly.
but no, absolutely, that's
Very appreciated. Yes.
definitely got to do that. So check them out. All right, so I know I sprung the whole dream thing on you guys, and it's
You sure?
Oh yes,
yeah.
Yeah.
But
we didn't get ghost mummy,
no, we didn't, not yet. I was giving her an
or
opportunity. I was
Stephanie
giving her an
Swan
opportunity.
Quills.
Yeah, I was giving Ghost Mummy an opportunity to silently back out of telling
All
a
over it.
dream thing,
Oh,
but
and I just called her out.
and then
I just called
you
her
just
out.
deconstructed that. So
Well, we can move on. But continue, Mr. X.
well, okay, well, Ghost Mummy, this is it. It's your
You want
time
me
to shine. If you have a dream story that you'd like to share, we
Well, it's not
will.
going to shine, but
Okay.
well, it's quite a brutal one. I had this dream when I was 10 years old, and you know, it's been with me all my life. And you guys are going to think I'm crazy, but anyway, what kind of mind does she have? But anyway, so I was the dream. The dream was I was in a room, a large white room with I don't know, about 30 other people, and we were all kneeling down. We were all made to kneel down, and there was this guy with a gun, and I gathered very quickly they were executing people. They were going to execute us. So they started with one guy shot me in the back of his head. And I think the most horrific part of it was, yes, the shooting in the back of the head wasn't great, but another guy was carrying this sort of container, and this container was full of worms, not earthworms, but some kind of worms, and he put it into the wound, the hole in the head. And they kept doing that, and eventually they came to me. And I'll tell you why it always sticks with me, because I felt the impact in the back of my head, and I felt the blood trickle down, and I thought, is this what it's like to die? And that was it.
Oh my God,
Wow.
you were holding out on that?
Wow.
Well,
Why?
I did think it was
Right.
exciting.
How dare
I don't know.
you?
I had this dream when I was 10, and I just feel like I knew what it was like to die. It was just the weirdest feeling at
That
10.
is
Yeah, it
so
was-
intriguing.
and I
You're
remember
just sitting
waking
on
up.
it like it was no big deal.
Yeah, I
Wow.
woke up and went to my parents' room, and I was crying, and they said, "Okay, yes, you can come and sleep with us." And I was like, "Okay, thank you." I think I died.
Yeah,
So yeah, it was
I'm
quite
sorry.
horrific for someone.
I'm sorry
even
you
at
had
this-
to go through that at 10, but
Yeah.
that was an
Yeah.
awesome story,
Oh, okay.
and it was very very well said. All right, so
Thank you.
yeah, that was really interesting. And you know what? Almost every dream or nightmare that I hear from someone, I have one that I've experienced myself that's along the similar lines. And I mean, even with I can relate with the death. I've died in my dreams many times, and I remember most of them. And I've also been in line for execution in a specific dream.
Really?
But I was saved.
wow.
I'll tell you guys that in a little bit, because I'm still kind of mind blown from the story you just told.
Oh,
And
yeah, don't forget to tell
Right.
us that, please.
yeah, no, I won't, or don't let me forget. If somebody somebody in the chat, please make a note and make sure that I remember to do that. So
I'm sure the chat will remind you of it
Yeah.
before the stream ends. Even if we're wrapping things up,
Yeah.
they'll remind you.
yeah,
And
there's
it's very
usually
interesting
somebody there.
because it's interesting because for me, I'm a very light sleeper, and I think to dream you have to hit that REM state, and unfortunately for me, I don't really quite get there, and so shockingly, I don't have a whole lot of dreams, and if I do, then I don't remember them. And I wish that I did. I mean, I don't, the ones that I do have, of course, I remember them so vividly because I rarely remember if I dream at all. But I wish I did.
Yeah.
That was wow, Ghost Mummy. Wow.
Hey, real
Yeah, it was
quick.
kind of dramatic, I'll tell you. Not something, it's the weirdest feeling. I think the blood trickling down, it was so warm. Oh, it was just horrible.
Yeah,
Sorry, let me not
that's
just
like
keep
very
recording.
detailed. Like it's almost like a high resolution memory where you
Yes.
remember the feelings, the smells, the more information, sensory data that's involved there, the more real you can probably put yourself. I gather from the way you speak about it, you could put yourself back into that moment right now if you really wanted
Yes,
to.
it's like it happened yesterday.
Yeah.
That's how clear it is, and that's why
Yeah.
I've remembered it. And that's probably one dream that I'll never forget. I'll never forget.
How could you?
I know.
How could you?
So is
Okay.
Stephanie going to tell
And
us a
definitely,
dream?
yes.
See,
Stephanie said
Stephanie's
we'll have to-
she's cheating a little bit because it's not her fault. I did give her the heads up, and I said, "Hey, just so you know, our conversation has gone into dreams. So if you have any weird dreams, think about that for a minute before you come on." So
Yes,
she
and
actually got a
yes,
little heads
you
up.
told me this 5 minutes ago, but luckily for you, I actually keep a series of notes on my phone of interesting or especially memorable dreams that I have
Oh,
wow.
that
that I
is.
try to frantically type down the second I wake up if I can remember them clearly.
And you know what?
But
That's exactly what I was going to say, because I do the same thing. I have, and they're garbled. There's misspellings. There's messed up punctuation. But as long as you get a little bit there to jog your memory, you could write it back out later if you want. But that I was
Yeah.
about to take a break to actually explain. Hey, if you guys dream and you're frustrated for forgetting your dreams, remember that just keep your phone or a notepad or something right next to your bed. So as soon as you wake up, the moment you get
Yes.
up,
Yeah, dream diary.
rush. And I was going to use the
And
word
yeah.
feverishly, just like you did. And that's
I
the
was
way to
going
do
to
it.
say that, as someone suggests, a few people suggested that to me, that I just, when I wake up, just, start typing them down, because I know that I've had dreams, but by the end of the day, and I've even had a dream where I woke up that's been so crazy, and I'll go, I have to remember this and tell somebody. But by the time everything done, at the end of the day, those details are gone. So someone said it's very important that you write it down as soon as you wake up. And I just haven't. So I will take that suggestion and start doing that, and then maybe I'll have a better dream later on for you guys. Besides that kind of creepy one that I gave you.
All right. And now for Stephanie.
Okay,
Dun,
so I
dun,
should
dun.
clarify that the dreams that I have nowadays are very different to the dreams that I had maybe a year and a half to like forever ago. For a while, I would have dreams that would fluctuate in tone. Like I rarely had nightmares, honestly. I would have them a while when I was a teenager, but nowadays I don't have them so much. But from on occasion, I would have moments of sleep paralysis where I would hallucinate figures typically standing around my bed. Usually they would be quite tall and thin, not dissimilar from the gentleman from that episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, where they're all like the very pale faces and the black suits, but they were all entirely like matte black from head to toe, like no eyes, no expression, just like maybe a series of like 7 to 9 figures kind of standing and looming over my bed. And that's kind of one of the most vivid memories I have from when I would have sleep paralysis. But kind of since then, I can feel that there's this intangible force, and I'm not sure what it is, but I know it's it almost has a strange sentience to it. But I have a feeling that that's kind of what protects me from having any more nightmares. I honestly can't remember the last time I did have a nightmare. And I'm just clarifying this because all of the dreams that I've made notes on sound like terrible, terrible fan fiction written by a 10-year-old. So I'm just going to clarify that before I read any of them out.
Fair warning. Thank you.
Yes, I just wanted to clarify that. I'm just trying to pick one of these to start with. Okay. So feel free to laugh at these, everyone, because they are absolutely ridiculous, and I'm fully aware that they are ridiculous, but this is oddly enough how my subconscious mind works. So, I was searching for Pennywise the Dancing Clown with Nancy Wheeler from Stranger Things, and we were gifted red roses by a stranger. It was Valentine's. We went to a street and I saw a satyr walking past with 2 attendants. It seemed to be some kind of procession. Our eyes met. A few days passed and I tried to seek him out, but the festival had changed. I went to an old bookstore to find him, and after talking to the owner, I was magicked away to the rickety old store across the street for some reason. Inside was filled with a massive tree. I asked to be his apprentice, but he refused, saying that I was too late. I implored and he gave in, and I fell asleep at the store. Meanwhile, Sherlock and Watson were going by carriage, supposedly looking for me, but couldn't see the old store. Their carriage wheel broke and it fell, and then I woke up.
Wow.
You see what I mean? How it's just like pieces and snippets, like it's a scrapbook collection.
I think you might have accidentally downloaded Netflix into your brain. I think that's what happened.
Thing, though, isn't it? That's what Stranger Things is. That it's a recent Netflix. Oh, has it been around for 2 years or so?
Yeah.
About 2.5 years or so. Yeah.
And Pennywise, is that the clown from It?
Yes, that is.
Crikey, that was a nightmare.
Yeah, I'm glad I've never had to see him in my subconscious.
Do you think that dreams are a reflection of the state of our minds? And our subconscious, things that we haven't sort of dealt with in the conscious state, and it's sort of in the subconscious rather than paranormal or messages.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, even if it is really lucid or surreal, or it feels like it's just patchwork images barely strung together by cohesive thought. I think if you manage to write them down and kind of break it down in broad strokes, then you can really pick up on base feelings of being lost and found, of feeling abandoned and then wanting to be discovered at some point. So even though you might have familiar or unfamiliar faces in them, kind of, I think what the figures in your dreams say and do kind of reflects a lot on maybe what your subconscious wants to tell you, that you should either take care of yourself better, or that you need to confront something that's causing you anxiety. And it might be said with the most insane choices of characters.
Yeah, it's almost like it's been buried deep. Like, let's say, look after yourself. You've buried it deep. You don't want to change lifestyle. And something in the dream is telling you, you know you have to consciously, but you bury it so deep, and then the subconscious sort of tells you. But that doesn't really explain away Mr. X's dream about the wolf talking to him.
Well,
I don't know. It could be something.
Well, check this out, guys.
Fear for humanity.
So here's a thing. I think there are different types of dreams and different levels and origins of them, because and there's certain ones. There's one that I just had a few days ago. I'm going to tell you guys real quick. It's not terribly long, but it illustrates a point. It made me think for the almost my whole workday. When I got up and went to work after having this dream, I was like, what in the world? What is going on in this world? You know, that's the kind of dream that it was. And it's not the first time. That's not the first time I had a dream like that. I mean, I've had dreams where my dream was shared with another member of my family, and she calls me the next day. All right. Okay.
Wow.
I think in some dreams, not everyone, but sometimes there are dreams where the people in your dreams are real people. And they're in their own dream.
And you're sharing like some wave of subconscious. I find is especially strong with family members.
It's like a lobby.
Kind of like that show, Water. Have you guys heard of Falling Waters, or is that the name of it? Where they all collectively share a dream world.
No, I haven't.
No, me neither.
It's a really good show, but it's exactly what you just described.
Okay. Well, that sounds like a show that I should be watching.
Yeah, sounds really interesting, intriguing.
Hey, okay, hold on. Alexa, Silver Studio, 6now25. Greetings, my friends. Thanks for coming by. And I've been glancing at these comments. The more people are in the chat, I mean, the more people that we're actually talking to and listening to stories, it's more fun, and it also kind of takes our attention away from the chat. So I don't want anybody to feel bad if we miss anything. I can't afford to hire someone to exclusively look at the chat and make sure that nobody gets missed. But we're gonna get back to the chat in just a little bit. But first, I have 2 dreams that are both pretty short. I'm just gonna go through them quickly. So, and because they both illustrate the point that I'm kind of, the theory that I have, that some dreams just kind of show you what your fears are and shows something about your subconscious or things like that. And then other ones, it's where you're almost like in a lobby where, you're meeting up with the consciousnesses of other dreaming people, other dreamers in the world. And I'm not talking about my subscribers. I mean, just in general dreamers. Although you never know. So dream number 1, I was with a friend standing in front of this large office building, maybe a 7 or 8 floor office building. And there was a huge tree off to the right. It was dusk, and there were about 500 or maybe more people crowded in front of this building, all chattering and talking loudly. And I was with my friend, and I was there for a job interview. And I gathered that everyone was there for a job interview. All the people that had been waiting around. The building looked like it was closed. Maybe we all were there waiting all day, and they closed the doors, at when their time ran out, and everybody seemed pretty agitated at that. So I'm in the dream, and like, man, you know what? I'm not even going to apply for this job. I'm out of here. This is not worth my time. So let's go. But then, so I wake up, totally uneventful, right? So then that morning, I go to work. I was in training of some sort at the time, and I get a call from my cousin, and she says, "Hey, I saw you in a dream last night." And I was like, "Oh, well, that's interesting," because when she dreams, her dreams are very out there. And her ability to interpret dreams is also extremely. She's a very capable dream interpreter. So I was like very intrigued when she said that she saw me in a dream. I said, "Okay, what happened?" She says, you were standing next to this giant building, and there were all these people, and they were all yelling, and like some of them were fussing at each other. It was dark, and there was a huge tree there. And I was like, "Really? What did I do?" And she says, "You came up to me, and you were saying something, and you were motioning me to come with you, but I couldn't hear you. I couldn't hear your voice at all. You weren't actually saying anything." So I said, "Okay, that's weird. What happened next?" So she said, off in the horizon behind her, the sky started to turn white, and this whiteness started to envelop everything, and it just spread until it came across the ground, past, from the horizon all the way up to where we stood. And as I stood there holding my hand out and waving, motioning for her to come towards me, everything became white and blindingly white, where it was just everything lost all form and color. And then she woke up, almost like she felt like she was kicked out of the dream at that point. So in the ensuing conversation that we had, I kind of had this hypothesis that person, the version of me that she saw, was me in between me waking up, like coming out of the dream, and me waking up physically. Maybe some remnant of myself that was still in that dream world as the dream world was being deleted, basically.
Wow.
And it was, imagine if, say, that dream world was like a lobby, and when people go online to play a game and they're all waiting in the lobby and people are chatting and things like that, it's almost like I was the host server for that lobby. And when I woke up, the server was being cleared. It's being flushed out and deleted because it was no longer in use by the host. And that's the nerdiest way possible to ever explain anything ever. But that that is what it seemed like to me. And she was, and I wasn't even aware of that moment, but it was in my dream. She accurately described the entire scenario and the landmarks and everything there. And I was just like, hey, this dream is done. Like, just come on, let's go. We're leaving. You know? So that was one thing. And that carries a whole bunch of implications in itself. I mean, I wonder if all those other 500 people were all waiting to go into their own dreams, or were they just in my dream as extras and they were just pissed about it? Or was that some of was that one of the dreams, that one of the many dreams that we have that we just don't remember because we were an extra instead of the main character? You know what I mean? That's all.
An interesting concept.
Yeah, it's something that has kind of plagued my thoughts for quite a long time. And so I know I drug that one out a little bit, but I'll be quick about this second one. I had another dream a couple days ago where I was in this neighborhood. It was almost like Sesame Street, where, you know, you can look at the buildings and tell that they're kind of flat. They're not all there. You can tell it's just the facade of a building, and behind that there's really nothing. There's nothing there. You can't actually go into that building and live there. So I was with a group of people, and we all had these jumpsuits on. They were like blue or purple jumpsuits. And someone, you know, we were just trying to figure out how to survive there. We were like, okay, everything here is fake. There's this place where, you know, we're just stuck here. What do we do? And it was almost like it had this weird feel that it was like a play, like a setup, like a setting for a play. And someone invented this way. They were like breaking down parts of the set and just using it to make bricks or something that we could use to actually build a real structure that someone could take shelter in. And we were like, all right, let's all focus our efforts on building so that we can actually live here instead of just standing around in the middle of the street with all these fake buildings. And there was this one guy that was just really down all the time. He would mope around, and he was very sad. Clearly, you could tell the dude was really a sad guy. And I was wondering what was wrong with him. So out of nowhere, this couple, a man and a woman, come up with different colored jumpsuits, and it's like, hey, yeah, these two people, they're from another planet. They're playing the role of aliens. I knew that they were just regular people, but their role in that scene was that they're from another planet. And it's almost like we were supposed to be making a play of some sort, but none of us were having it. We were like, screw this play, we're just trying to survive. But we all kind of knew what role we were supposed to have, but we just chose not to do it. So the female out of that group of the two people that were supposed to be from space, she was very attentive towards the guy that was really sad. And she was always trying to get him to cheer up, trying to give him some food. And when he didn't want to eat, he was too sad to eat, she would just stare at him and she would kind of empathize with him more than anyone else. And I just had this idea. I was like, wait a minute. Those two they're supposed to be married. They're not strangers. They know each other. They're supposed to be married, but right now they're not. Like, they're not playing those characters right now. And I got this feeling that that's what we were being forced into roles that were not the ones that we necessarily wanted. So, and I know it's kind of hard to explain, but I just knew, looking at the way they were, I was like, they're not meant to just be strangers. They have they have a past and a history together, and they're not even completely aware of it. That's why they're so sad. And so then that scene just goes dark, and then we all wake up again in a totally different scene. It's like in a school building now, and there's a couple of people have been swapped out. There's this older lady there. Our jumpsuits are all different colors now, like a different color. It's all blue instead of purple. And this one girl saying, "Hey, I'm sick and tired of this. We need to. I want to get out of here. Like we we need to wake up." And the old lady says to her, "Well, you know what? Don't you know what happens when he wakes up? We just sit here in the dark." And I was looking at her like, what is she talking about? But as I was processing that, I was thinking, wait a minute. These people are they're talking about me. I'm the one who, once I wake up, they just sit there. They have no choice but to sit there in the dark until I come back. And that's the other part of that theory, where the extras, like what are what are the people in your dreams? What do they do when you're not there? And she seemed pretty melancholy about it, and then the younger girl was pissed off about it. You know, so I almost felt like, are these just like alternate personalities in my mind, or are they programs in my mind? Like what is this?
Do you think there might be people you see throughout the day? We see hundreds of people throughout the day. It may not figure that much at that point in time, but it's filed away.
Mm-hmm.
And then it comes out in your dream, and all those different faces are just playing out, like extras in your dream.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Because
could very well
we
be.
take in so much information we're not even aware of, to a certain degree, on a conscious level. And then on a subconscious level, it's like all these different filing. I like to look at it as all these different filing cabinets in our heads, and they've all got all these different, pieces of information. It's a possibility, but I like your theory better though. It's more interesting. The waiting room.
Yeah, that's just that's what I got from it. But there's so much to talk about with this dream stuff. It's fascinating. Thank you guys so much for sharing those stories. They were very well delivered as well, and especially on a short notice. And there's something that I wanted to mention to you guys and to anyone listening who enjoys narrations and storytelling and stuff like that. There's a difference between narrating and storytelling. And what you're hearing today on this stream is, you heard a little bit of narration earlier when I read a story that was already written, but some people, have a knack for telling a story off the top of their head from memory, or telling a story live. And that's, I'm very impressed with you guys being able to do that. And that's something that will set you apart from the other people in this space. Not everyone is able to do that. And I think viewers really appreciate it when you have a chance to take some time, hang out and talk to people, and you can tell a story off the top of your head. That's something I did that specifically so that I could practice doing that today, and for you guys to have a chance to do that as well. And you guys all did a great job.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Not like I'm like the teacher or anything, but it's my stream, so I could say
guru.
that.
Easy grasshopper.
There was something that I did actually want to maybe raise as a interesting topic that ties into the ideas of dreams, because this is something that actually happens quite a bit to me. I do have frequent flashes of deja vu, especially over the past 5 years or so. It's become progressively more intense and much more frequent. So I don't have deja vu or premonitions. I would like to think that they're premonitions, but they're all of things like mental snapshots, that like still shots of a movie completely out of context. So I don't ever get things like seeing lottery numbers or anything like that. But I'll give an example. It was a few months, or maybe even like a good year or two before I was going to go. I went on holiday with my best friend to Cyprus, and I remember there was one day where we were having lunch with her grandmother, and the snapshot that I had in mind that I had as deja vu from like maybe, I honestly can't remember if it was a year before it happened, but I distinctly remember sitting at a brown table. It was a sunny day, palm trees in the background, someone to my immediate right wearing a white shirt, short hair, and sunglasses, and then someone immediately diagonally to my right hand side, sitting across from me, wearing bright blue, also sunglasses. I believe they were like tortoiseshell style, and kind of similar dark hair, and something white being set out in front of me. And that snapshot just kind of lingered until I was actually sitting there on a sunny afternoon having lunch, and it just like hit me like a ton of bricks that I had immediately seen this before. So I was wondering if, since all of us have quite strong ties to our subconscious, whether the rest of you have had similar experiences of deja vu, like hitting you really, really hard and it kind of making you pause for a second.
I used to have deja vu quite a bit, but I can't really remember it, but I don't anymore. Not for a number of years, actually. Have I had it?
What about you, Raven?
Raven? Oh.
Here she comes.
I'm here. Yes, I do have oh my God, I do have deja vu quite a bit, but I'm gonna let someone else go first because I have to run to the door again just for 15 seconds. So if anybody wants to go first, great, and then I'll hop back on and I'll tell you my deja vu theory or experience. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Okay, great, thanks.
You know, I'm really thinking about it, and I know I've had deja vu in my life, but it's never been something that was so jarring to me that I committed it to memory. You know, except for, unless you count it's more along the lines of the kind of a glitch in the Matrix type of story, which with my father being shot when he was a police officer when I was growing up. But that's something that I experienced, but it didn't actually happen. Yeah. Well, not in this dimension, according to anyone I ask anymore. But I wouldn't really. Yeah, I haven't had any deja vu. It does happen to me, but it's always something very mundane. It's never something that's a
I
high
am back,
level.
just FYI.
Hey, welcome back.
Right. Welcome back.
Well,
Okay,
congratulations,
sorry.
You're up.
So I experienced deja vu more than I would like. So like Stephanie said, I don't have any premonitions. I wish I saw lottery numbers and anything cool like that. But right, I don't have any psychic abilities or clairvoyance. That's not in my repertoire of gifts, I guess. But I get deja vu to the point where normally when I talk to people who had deja vu, it's very short, like maybe, I don't know, a few seconds when they feel like, I'm sure all of you, I hope, or maybe have experienced that where I feel like I've been here, or, we've had this conversation. My deja vu occurs for so long that I can literally tell the person what they're going to say next. Like I already know. I've
So when
you've
I
had
have
this
a question.
conversation
yes, the same, and everything is the same down to what I'm wearing, to how the person is sitting, their mannerisms, what they're drinking. If we're, yeah.
So when that happens, and just so everybody is clear, there's like a little bit of a weird delay. So there's really no way to avoid interrupting each other if someone wants to talk. So I'm sure we're all thick-skinned enough to be able to do that and know that it's all
Oh yeah.
all love here. And with that said, sorry for interrupting, but I have a question.
No, you're good.
If you ever do interject and say, "Hey, you're about to say this," does that then violate does that change the deja vu? Does the person do something else, or
No,
Did your deja
and
vu
that's
even
even the
include
weird.
you saying that?
Yes, that's even the weirder part. Is it even includes that? So the deja vu is me even saying, "Oh, I know you're about to say, stop right there. I know what you're about to say," because in the moment I'm so like, oh my ancient gods, I can't believe this is happening. And every time it happens, it still is almost unsettling. It doesn't change it. That's part of the deja vu. I can't explain it. And I have purposely tried to change the deja vu or stop the deja vu. And it seems like no matter what I do, whether it's, okay, I'm going to get up and walk to the kitchen, or, I'm going to change the conversation completely. No matter what I do, it's part of the deja vu. It's like I cannot prevent the events that may or may not have already happened. But they last for so long. And when I say for so long, I'm not talking like, oh, this has gone on for an hour. I mean maybe a minute maximum, 60 seconds, maybe a little over that. But that's very, and from what I've known in the research I've done with people who have had deja vu, that's a very long deja vu
Yeah.
comparatively, right? So just a full minute. And I mean, every single detail is something. When you have deja vu, everything is the same. And so, whether they're sitting there crossing their legs or they're using their hands in a certain manner,
Yeah.
if we're eating, I'm taking a sip. Let's just say the most recent one happened last week, and I was speaking to my roommate, and I had a glass of strawberry lemonade. Even the moment that I'm taking this sip of my strawberry lemonade and the exact words that are coming out of her mouth, I mean, it's that detailed. Every single detail is deja vu. There's nothing in it that isn't something where I go, I've already done this. This has already happened. I would love to try to deviate from the deja vu and see if there's anything I can do to prevent it. But thus far, I have not been able to do so. Even me telling them I know what you're going to say is part of the deja vu. And no matter how many times, and I experience it quite often, and when I say often, I mean at least once a week, I will have deja vu.
Wow.
No matter how often it happens, it still is unsettling. It's unsettling because it's I don't understand it. It's not something I can wrap my mind around. And now I have done research on it, and don't ask me right now because I don't remember. But there is a scientific study that was done on deja vu in which they explain what it is. So if you want to Google that, feel free. I found it very fascinating. Obviously not fascinating enough that I can tell you what it is, but I remember reading it at the time and thinking, "Oh wow, that's very intriguing." And it has something to do with the neurons and in your brain. False memories is part of it. So
Right.
I found that very fascinating. So, because I always love to explore both the scientific explanations and the, for lack of a better word, paranormal explanations of things. I like both sides.
Right.
And then I can kind of, go, well, I believe this or I believe that, which may seem very strange coming from someone who practices witchcraft. You would think that I would automatically veer towards only the supernatural and disregard the scientific factors of things, but I'm intrigued on both ends. I find them fascinating.
Interesting. I'm looking through the chat here a little bit, and I see old friend of mine, 6now25. She's told this to me before, but it's probably the most extreme version of deja vu that I've heard, which is that she had a dream of washing dishes at a sink that she'd never seen before, and then months later she goes to her mother's house, which I guess was not, she didn't have that apartment at the time yet, but 6now25 goes to her mother's house and is washing dishes, and that she realizes that that's the sink she was washing dishes in the dream months earlier. So she
Now
was
that is
basically having.
something I would
Yeah.
call a premonition.
Okay.
Those to
Yeah, I
me are
guess that'll
premonitions
be
where
that would be a different level.
Deja vu to me, and this is just my own personal of it, is something that's occurring in real time, but in your mind you believe you've already done it, you've already been there, it's already happened. More so than you've had a dream of something and then months down the line it actually happens. That to me is clairvoyance and premonitions and some sort of psychic ability.
Oh, that's
which is
on a whole
awesome.
other level right
I
there.
wish I could do that. Yeah. I wish I could do that. I wish I could have a dream and then months later it came true and just would save me a lot of time on things. But
Yep.
I've never had that happen to me.
I would have a lot more Bitcoins right now if I could do that.
Yes. You and me both.
All right. So
am I still really choppy?
No, it's improved quite a bit.
Yeah.
Oh, thank goodness.
Do you guys hear her a little bit better?
Yeah, I think your voice is coming through a lot better.
Yeah, it's fine.
Thank you.
Okay, so now it's time for if you guys, I don't know, I don't want to keep you guys too long. Is everybody up for a little bit more hangout time?
Yeah,
absolutely. Oh, I have free time. Absolutely.
Good, because one of my favorite things to do on a live stream, especially thankfully nobody's having such a bad day that that we've had to deal with a lot of sad news or anything like that. Hopefully, especially in the chat, and usually this if the mood goes down a little bit, I pop this on and kind of lift the spirits a little bit. But since our spirits are already pretty well lifted, this will take us even higher, hopefully.
Right.
So
I have a feeling I know what's coming.
Oh yeah, you know the deal. It's
I don't.
either.io. It's a website where you're given two options to choose from, and what I like to do with this is we'll decide between ourselves, amongst ourselves, and with the chat, who would do what, or what to vote on, and I'll make the vote, and we could kind of discuss the implications of the stuff that we're looking at, and it usually can get pretty funny. All right, so if you guys, I'm gonna see if I can share my screen with you guys in the Google Hangout so that you can actually get a more real-time view of what I'm doing, because otherwise you would have to deal with the sort of a delay. Yeah, it's like an 8-second lag or something like that. All right, so you guys see this thing, the red and blue?
Oh, there we go.
Yes.
All right, cool. So the first question, it's already loaded. Would you rather live until 80 in poverty or live until 40 but you'll be rich beyond your wildest dreams?
And then underneath it has the clarification. This would be your total lifespan, and you wouldn't be able to get around it with money.
Absolutely. There's almost always some caveat that somebody would try to take advantage of, or a loophole, and most of the time these people, the people who write these, circumvent that by giving you the rules. So okay, Aaron England says 80 and poor. I wonder how poor they're talking there. Choose riches. Okay. And if you guys have yeah, all right, the chat's going with their votes pretty well.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Let me see.
So what do you guys think?
I think I already know what my choice was. Yeah.
What was your? Can you say it? Can you tell us?
My choice, and it would be live till 40 with riches, because it's terrible to say, but when you're living in poverty, it's very difficult for you to ever kind of get out of where you are. And if you are kind of permanently stuck in that, you can condense exploring the world and living your life to the absolute fullest in those 40 years. You can travel to every country, you can accomplish amazing things. And then by 40, you might even have a few kids that you can then maybe pass down your riches to. So even though you wouldn't live as long, I think you would live a lot fuller and you would make the most of it.
I would say, can I give my vote?
Absolutely.
I would say 80 and poor because I don't actually feel that rich equals happiness. I don't think rich equals enrichment. I think if I could pass on to my kids wisdom, my company, my wonderful company, and I think that would be great. I just don't think I don't think it's the be all. I think you can do a lot. I think you can enjoy a walk in the park. I think you can enjoy a picnic. I don't think you have to have millions to enjoy the simple things in life. So 80, that's my vote.
I guess it depends on how poor we're talking. I mean, are we talking poor where your children have nothing to eat? Or
yeah, but that's it depends on what. I guess it depends on where you're living.
Yeah.
Poor in England would probably be rich in a third world country.
Oh yeah.
So it does depend. But I will say one thing that they've noticed in third world countries, they don't suffer from depression as much as they do in the West. That says something, doesn't it?
Indeed, it does. What about you, Raven?
So, I would live healthy in riches, and that's because poverty to me
Raven, I can't.
is not just the.
I'm sorry, Raven. I cannot make out
not?
what you're saying.
I can hear her.
Yeah,
are you guys
so
able to hear her well?
Here, you guys. Sorry.
Ghost Mummy, are you able to hear Raven consistently?
I hear a bit of, but it doesn't really bother me. I can hear her. So if the audience in the chat are okay with it, Stephanie, are you okay with? I can hear quite clearly.
You did come through a little bit glitchy to me, Raven, but if the chat and everyone else is okay, then yeah.
All right. Well, let's let the chat decide. Maybe you need to jump out and jump back in again because that seemed to help last time. I just want to point out.
I'm going to. I'll let you go first.
Okay. I just really want to point out real quick that what's happening on this live stream right now, we are thousands and thousands of miles apart, all over the world. I'm not even me and Raven are in the same country, and we're thousands of miles apart. And it's or at least a couple thousand. That's crazy, and we're all just here hanging out and talking and looking at the same stuff and talking to the same group of 30 to 50 people. That is
from all over the world.
It's fascinating. That's amazing. Thank goodness for technology. Something you would not have access to if you lived until 80 in poverty, unfortunately. But
Okay.
Go ahead.
Can you guys hear me any better? Is that better?
No, it's still a bit choppy.
Yeah, it's I don't know, it's jacking up for me.
It is for me too, which is because me and Ghost Mommy, like you were explaining, we live thousands and thousands of miles away, and we never have any issue. But what I think is happening is it's extremely windy over here in Vegas right now, and so it could be my internet connection. So it could be that, and I may have to leave because I don't want a live stream that sounds awful. Does that make sense?
Oh.
So if you guys can hear me,
can you try one more time to come back in?
Yeah, it got a little bit better just now. Maybe if we all just believe, it will get it'll get better.
Send her your energy.
Just believe in
Come on,
me.
chat. We could do this.
Okay, talk. Are you there, Raven?
Hold on. Let me see. I don't know if she's there yet. No, she's not back
she
quite
went.
yet.
Okay, she's gone. She'll come back.
Okay. I'm really struggling to make a decision here, but I probably would say, because I've always had this kind of fantasy of being a wandering martial arts master, and I'm pretty sure I could do that as, being poor, and I would have all the time in the world to do that. So I would go to poverty, live in poverty for 80 years.
Till 80, yeah.
Yeah, nothing against anyone who would choose to live to 40 with riches. That I'm sure that'd be fun. And hey, good night, Six
No,
now.
it would be, yeah.
And someone just said that they love me, and I am not going to let that go unanswered. OST Clinic, I love you too, my friend. Thank you. Yeah, being I don't know if you guys saw my Akuma bead necklace that I made a long time ago, but I was probably 15 when I made that necklace. It's in some of my pictures. And that's how long, literally, that I've been waiting for the opportunity to become a wandering martial arts master. So if I could do that, that's what I would do. Did I already?
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, I'm sure it would be interesting, and I would have plenty of time to get that nailed down. All right, since we spent 15 minutes on this first question, let's go to the next one.
Okay.
Oh, this is a cool one. Go to heaven or hell, or be reborn into a better or worse life. Okay, so depends on how you lived. Okay, so basically, would you rather go to heaven or hell, or reincarnation based on karma? Hey, good night, Nix.
Go to heaven or hell.
Hey, good night.
Oh my God, go to heaven or hell.
I love you too, Robin
We're
Hood.
go to heaven or hell.
Well, that's the thing. You would have to. It's basically you choose which afterlife concept will apply to you when you die. Which would you?
I think I will. God, I hope so.
Well, you never know. I mean, you never know. Because the heaven or hell, it could be a very specific set of circumstances and requirements that we don't know about.
Okay, where you go depends on how you lived, good, bad life. Okay, I would say go to heaven and hell, or hell, because I believe we have one lifespan. And I think by the time I get to 80, please God, I'll be tired and I'll be done with this mortal realm. So I would like to go to heaven or hell. And hopefully I've been good enough to go to heaven.
I hope so too. That's perfectly sound reasoning. What about you, Steph?
Oh, honestly, I'd have to say go to heaven or hell as well. As much as I love being on this earth and being around all these amazing people, when you're on this mortal earth, you also are surrounded by not so great people. So I have to say that I would like to think that I'm a fairly good person and I would go to heaven, because then you're surrounded by people that you genuinely love, that you're content and happy, and you don't have to ever worry about a bad day ever again, or being around people who are selfish or cruel. And even though so many of us have tried to surround ourselves with amazing people while we're living that are strong and helpful and kind, there's still terrible things happening in this world. So I would have to go with heaven or hell.
I see you there, Stephanie. Party up there in heaven.
Yep, I sincerely hope so. Let me see, is Raven back yet? No, she's not back yet.
I'm here. I don't know if it's going to be
there
any
you
better,
go.
but I'm here.
Great.
That sounds way better,
better.
way better. Very good.
Okay. I closed out my internet browser and restarted it, so I'm hoping that's what will do the trick. If not, then, well, we tried, right?
Yeah.
So go to heaven or hell, or be reborn into a better, worse life. Well, where I come from, we incarnate anyways. But if I had to choose, and then just throwing away my belief systems, Sure, I'll live in heaven for eternity. Why not?
No, but you might not go there. It depends. So it's a bit of a
Yeah.
gamble.
Oh, I don't have a choice.
Well,
No.
It's a
says
gamble?
here-
You're
well,
basically
it
choosing
depends on how-
whether
Yeah.
you're the afterlife consists of either heaven or hell or reincarnation. So you have to
Oh,
play
where
by
you
the
go
same. You
depends
have to
on how
play by
you
the
live.
rules, right?
Well. Yeah. I'm gonna choose to be reborn into a better or worse life then.
Yeah.
Not
Why?
because I feel like I lived a bad life, but who determines on if I've lived a good life or not? Like,
Yeah, it
I need more.
doesn't specify,
I need more answers.
unfortunately.
Yeah, it doesn't. You just have to choose. Well, I'm not going to gamble going to hell for eternity, so I will just incarnate, and let the chips fall where they may. If my life is worse, then I'll make the best of it. If it's better, great.
Let's see. I'll pick something from the chat. Aaron England says the problem with heaven or hell is that it might get boring at some point. Yeah, maybe. We don't even know what heaven or hell possibly could be. So, that's a good point. But here's what this is my take on it. I would rather be, because I have this feeling, if I had the opportunity to become an immortal, honestly, if like they said, somebody told me, hey, you have 30 seconds to decide, do you want to be immortal or not? There's a chance that I would choose that because I have this weird like connection to being alive. I just feel like I would want to be immortal if I could be, even though you have to watch your loved ones die, your children go on past you. Trust me, I've thought of all of that, and I know that it would be, it would be sad. It's a lot of sadness throughout life, and imagine living that 1,000,000 times over. It's something that I can't even comprehend. Just like eternity, you can't comprehend what eternity of living would be like in heaven, hell, or elsewhere. So, but me, if I knew that, it's based on whether you lived a good life or not, that would make me basically become a superhero, which is another thing I would always wanted to do. Knowing that, hey, at some point in every life that I live, I will have a chance to sacrifice my life for someone else, or to risk my life for someone else. And if I get messed up or something like that, I get horribly injured, I'll just tell them, hey, just unplug my life support system. I'll be back. Don't worry about it. So I would basically be Batman, but I could come back every time. And if you die like Batman, you will every time become even better. You know what I mean?
A better Batman.
Yes, to a point where eventually you'll be Superman.
So are you saying more like a Super Saiyan kind of deal?
Oh,
every
yes.
time you almost reach death, you come back stronger and more badass than ever?
No, except I would actually die so that I could become a physically superior human being because I valiantly sacrificed myself. You get it? So I would literally become a Super Saiyan at some point. Okay. Maybe after like 50 or so deaths, I would be a Super Saiyan. I would charge up and scream for like 40 minutes whenever I'm, about to save the day. Yeah, that's what that's my idea of that.
I'm just reading through some of the comments in the chat, and they're just like, "Wait, I thought you were already immortal, Mr. X." No.
Oh well, the cat's out of the bag. Sorry, little one.
He's on the cusp of ascension. Give him time.
Yeah, now that I've seen this, I'm gonna make it happen. It's gonna happen. Immortality.
It's about to go down.
It's about to go down. Let's see here. All right. So I didn't see a lot of people voting on this one. Well, yeah, it looks like most people said heaven, as far as I can see. But I am currently the dungeon master of this live stream, which Stephanie Swan Quills would know quite a bit about. So I choose where we go. Look at that. I didn't know I was going to be in the majority on this one.
Wow, okay.
Interesting.
Oh, look at, yeah, we both.
Didn't you? Yeah.
Yes, yes. I believe we are anyways. Well, where I come from, not come from, like I come from another planet. How I was brought up is that when you die, your spirit soul chooses to either incarnate or stay where you are. So we have the choice to come back and have another go at it, or you can stay and say, you know what, I think I've incarnated enough, and I've spiritually grown, which I can't imagine that ever being enough for me. I would continuously want to grow spiritually. But yeah, we have the belief that you either can stay where you are or you can choose to incarnate again.
Yeah.
Could you imagine
That's our belief system.
Could you imagine being a witch and being in this system of reincarnation where you get stronger and better if you're a good person? You would be like,
I would love that. I think that is happening. I'm just going to become more and more powerful as my lives go on. Don't you know who I am? No, I'm just kidding.
just don't become like a female Voldemort or anything like that with those powers.
I will stay away from that. I will stay far away from that.
Yeah. And you know, like 1,000 years from now, we're going to be calling Raven the Dark Lord, or the Dark
Lord.
Mistress. What? Not Dark Lord.
Lordess.
Yeah. What is it?
Yeah.
The dark. What?
The dark
Lord.
Dark something.
Yeah. Something.
Dark mistress.
Why are there no dark female Dark Lords analogs? Why not?
How about something like the Dark
I don't know.
Primarch or something? The Dark Primarch.
Oh man, that sounds freaking intense as hell.
That's amazing. I'm going with that.
Yep. All right, so let's write that in the history books now, so that in the future, you'll look back on it and be like, "Yep, I remember when those freaking little tiny-brained humans were joking about this, and now it's a reality."
Reality.
Yeah, Primark is a store. Galactic. Is that what you meant, Stephanie?
I more meant it in its terms of being, according to Google, the state or condition of being prime or first, as in time, place, rank, etc.
Yes.
For example, it's also a state of excellency or supremacy. So
yes. That's how I understood it, and I'm all for that.
Okay.
Wow, Jules Frazier, you're quite confident there. Too righteous for heaven, and Satan knows you'll take over hell if you show up there.
Wow.
You have my respect. That's
right. Respect
you might have a run for your money as far as the title of Dark Mistress there. You definitely got to be the Dark Primarch now.
Right.
Let's see. Raven,
this question is interesting. I already know my answer.
Yeah, same.
All right, wait. By the way that you said that, I'm thinking get away with lying is what you were going to do, Raven.
No.
Really?
I would always want to know what. No.
Okay.
Yeah, opposite.
All right, you sounded a little devious when you said that. That's why.
Yeah, no, I did, didn't I? Yeah, I'd rather always know when people are lying rather than to always get away with lying. I don't see the point. I'm not a saint. Of course, I've lied and probably will in the future. But I really believe more so in just brutal honesty. It's a pet peeve of mine. Like, don't insult my intelligence, first of all. I already pretty much believe that I know when people are lying to me anyways. I think there are certain instances in which you lie. I hate to say that, like, there are times when it's okay to lie. That's not what I'm saying. But I do think there are instances where it's a necessary evil. But I'm much, much more for brutal honesty or just honesty in general than I am lying. I don't like it.
This a long
I
time
think
ago. I can't remember why. All I know is that I had lied to my mom about something when I was in my early teens, and something about whatever that lie was, it really tore me up inside, and I vowed not to lie again at that time.
yeah,
And I've slipped up on that a couple of times throughout life since then because it's been like 20 years, but I generally
of course.
there's it's usually a lie will get me into more trouble than the truth would have eventually,
Right. I think people just respect you more if you're honest with them. You can always not maybe explain, but ask for forgiveness and hey, look, I'm really sorry. I messed up, and I need to talk to you and just tell you what I've done, and hopefully we can work through this, and be okay. And I sincerely apologize if whatever I lied about or whatever I did. I'd much rather tell you and try to work it out than to live this lie and carry that guilt. Knowing that you've done something wrong and just forever lie about it. For one, I have a really bad memory, anyways. I can't. It's easier. What did they say? It's easier to remember the truth than a lie. And
Yeah.
then once you lie, you have to lie on top of that lie, and it just would be so exhausting. But I think that people that deserve the respect to be told the truth. Now,
Most people.
a lot of people, yeah, they're so afraid of losing a friendship because they did something, so they'd rather lie about it, or maybe they fear of being judged, or whatever your reasons are for lying. I feel that you'd find that if you tell the truth, not only do you feel a weight lifted off of you, but you also are giving not only yourself but the other person the respect that they deserve as a human being. So, let's say I don't know, for example, I was really angry and I said some things out of anger, and I didn't mean it. I'd rather come to that person and say, look, I was really angry with you and I said some things, and I want you to hear it from me and not from somebody else. And go from there than to have said all this stuff about, or even one thing about someone, and then they find out and they go, I never said that. Why would I say that? That's just so petty to me. But there are certain cases, and I'll get real personal. There's a time, and I distinctly remember that I lied. um, my mother committed suicide when I was 16,
Damn.
and I have a brother, and she wrote a note before she did this, and the note included only me. And when my brother found out about it, because we didn't grow up together, but when he found out what happened, because he went looking for her, and he went to her last known address, and the way he found out was the person who was renting to her, he said, I'll use a fake name, is Jane here? And the guy said, oh, Jane? No, she's dead. She killed herself. So that's how he found that out. But the point I'm making is that he came to me and he asked me, did she leave a note of any sort? And I chose to say no, because I didn't see how that would have helped him by saying, yes, she did, but she didn't mention you at all.
Yeah.
And so that's one lie that sticks out to me in my mind, where I felt personally that it would have done more harm than good to tell the truth. Now, whether I'm right or wrong on that, I don't know. I leave that up to other, everyone will have their opinion on that. Lies that I say sometimes I believe are a necessary evil.
Well, I think that something like that can be forgiven. If it's
Yeah, I
in
hope
truly
so.
in the
Yeah.
nothing but the good nature and nothing but the interest of the listener, it's a lot harder to judge that in a negative way, in my opinion, anyway.
Right.
What do you think, Steph?
Yeah.
Oof. I think so. Like those kind of lies where, you know, there's that part of you that feel like that you feel like you should tell the truth, but you know that the truth would absolutely devastate someone.
Mm.
Then
Mm-hmm.
you're choosing to hold on to that burden yourself rather than saying what you feel like you need to say and giving it to another person, knowing that it could send ripples across the rest of their life that will have a possible
Right.
devastating effect. So, in absolute honesty, I think you have amazing courage for doing that. But for me, I have to say, I would choose to always know when people are lying because I honestly hate having to lie to people. Because I remember when I was a
Yeah.
teenager, I kind of found myself getting caught in this toxic cycle where I was just always lying to my friends and my teachers and my family. And eventually the lie kind of came crashing down on me. And for
Mm-hmm.
months upon months, it was just like a cycle of feeling so ashamed that I was lying to all these people. I won't go into details on what it was, but it just got to the
Mm-hmm.
point that essentially I knew at some point it was going to come crashing down, but it was like a massive, like tilting tower of glasses that I knew would eventually shatter at some point, but I just kept putting another glass on top of the tower and keep pushing it, keep pushing it.
Yeah.
And even though the caveat is that you would never get caught for telling a lie, I still couldn't do it because I know me as a person, I would always like hold on to that sinking feeling of knowing that I wasn't honest with someone. But then having to know, like always knowing when people are lying, even if it means loved ones lying to you when they say like everything's fine, and then you know in your gut that things aren't fine, it would actually be helpful because then you can actually ask them honestly, like, no, no, you're saying that everything's fine, but what's actually going on? So having that ability would be really
Right.
useful as well.
Yeah. I think it's pretty unanimous so far. What do you think, Ghost
Mm-hmm.
Mummy?
I think there are necessary lies, like Raven said and Stephanie, that sometimes you have to comfort someone. Like I remember when my father was dying, he was really scared and he didn't have long to go and I knew it. But I knew my dad's temperament and he wasn't ready to go. And he tended to look at me during that period as almost like his savior. And he couldn't really talk, but he'd look at me like, help me. And I said to him, he said, his last words to me were, I'm really scared. And I said to him, Daddy, you're going to be fine. And then he died. And I don't know if I'm proud that in a way, I am happy that because he calmed down and then he died. And because he believed in me. And to be honest with you, I don't know if it was the right thing to do. Well, what do I say to him? I knew he was terrified. So in a way I feel that I comforted him, and that's what we're supposed to do for the dying. I knew my dad's temperament, and that's I don't know, it's a hard one.
I think you said
But
what
then
you had to
again,
say.
yes, at the time, and I always believe comfort the sick, comfort the dying, and I think I did that. I didn't know what else to say to him. In a way I'm happy I did, and in a way I don't know. But anyway, I was plagued with horrible, horrible nightmares after that. And I don't know if he was angry. Sometimes I thought he was really angry with me for lying to him. I don't know. But it was really for 2 years, he kept coming to me and, he was angry with me. Anyway, that aside, sometimes, I think he probably realizes now that, why I did it. So there are necessary lies. There are white lies, is what we call them. But I would rather always know when a person is lying rather than be a liar, because lies can destroy lives. Liars can be extremely, extremely dangerous.
Yeah, and none of us want to be dangerous in that way, at least.
No, no. I
Yeah.
mean, I've had people lie to me, and it can be devastating, especially from somebody that you really love and trust. Yeah, so definitely, I'd rather know than be a liar. Or
Well, it seems like I'm surprised at how many people said get away with lying. I was thinking it was going to be more of a landslide, but yeah. Well, real quick,
Yeah, me
Ghost
too.
Mummy, about about your father. I, first of all, both of you, losing your parents. I'm very sorry and sad to hear that, and
Thank you.
it's
Thank you. Thank
part
you.
of. We all know it's part of life, and eventually, somewhere or another, it's going to happen, and
Yeah.
it's. But what saying that to your father, that you don't know, and if you might have been right, you might be right. Maybe he is okay. I don't know what happens when when people pass on, but what we know is that he's no longer going through the suffering that he was going through here. You know, if you look at it that way, he's all right, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And
Sorry, I'm just a bit
yeah,
emotional about it.
no, that's part of being a human being. That's it is what it is. But I don't want you to think any wrong way about that the decision that you made. I couldn't imagine anything saying anything else. You don't tell someone like that, hey, well, yeah, when we say you're going to be okay, that normally means what, you're going to just get healthier all of a sudden and just hop out of the bed. I think he would have called you out on BS if you'd said that. Maybe he just wanted to
Um,
hear
Yeah.
a good word, a word of encouragement, and that's what you gave
Raul,
him.
Raul Sanchez asked why was he angry. I think he was angry because he was the kind of man that was going to live forever, and he trusted me, and I think he felt I betrayed his trust.
Well, you sure it wasn't you thinking that?
Possibly.
Yeah, yeah. I think he's fine. I think he's fine with you.
Me too.
I think he is because it went on for 2 years, and then the last dreams I had of him, he was dancing with my mother in my last dream, and he was happy, and he said he's with his people, and he's with his brother, and yeah. So I think ultimately, after he accepted it, I think it took him a long time. I don't know. It could be my subconscious, like you said. I'm
Hmm.
not sure, but I think ultimately he did accept it and he did move on, and yeah, that's what I think.
Well, that's good news. That's the best news that we could possibly hope for in this situation. So I'm a little uplifted by that. I'm glad you shared that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Thanks for that. Very
Thank you.
personal sharing.
Sorry, I didn't expect to start blubbering. You think you're over it, but
No, it's
I lost
okay,
it with
really.
Karen.
No, absolutely. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it's been 11 years, but I miss him, and yeah, sorry
Of
guys.
course.
No, we don't get over
Don't be
things like that,
sorry.
really.
Yeah.
And there's no time frame on mourning. I'm sorry, but there's not.
Hmm.
Okay, so let's cheer up, shall we?
Okay.
Sure. What's the next question?
This one should be a little bit lighter. Okay. Would you
Okay.
rather have a lover who only speaks on Mondays, or have a lover who only speaks in Pig Latin, which is the most annoying language of all time?
Oh God.
Mondays. I'm picking Mondays.
Mondays.
All right.
First of, yeah, please just make
Mm-hmm.
sure that you make the most out of the Monday. That's all, as far as language goes.
Oh yeah.
Because I believe you can communicate in other
Yeah.
ways besides verbal. So please don't speak to me in Pig Latin every day. I probably would just break up with you.
Yeah.
Or are you talking to me?
No, I'm
I,
talking to you.
I felt that was directed somewhere. Hmm.
I meant in general. How embarrassing. No,
Oh, you're good.
I just meant in general.
Hey, No Face 678, and let me see who else. Leia Love, greetings, my friends, and thanks for joining us. I think we're going to be on for about 9 more minutes, and we're gonna try to have get a couple of laughs in here as much as we
Nice.
can. Hey, Brad,
Yeah.
what's up, man? Good to see you.
Hmm.
Oh yes, so on Mondays. I mean, you do have, see, there's no stipulations here that say, hey, you can't use sign language or you can't write notes or things like that.
Right.
So I'm
Yeah.
assuming that's all on the table. So I would definitely go with Mondays. Let me see some votes in the chat. Would you rather? Okay, Mondays. Everybody's saying Monday. I don't know if you guys even know what Pig Latin is, because
Yes,
it's
I
an
can
old
speak it
school.
actually.
Yeah, I
Oh,
learned it
please
from the
do.
Three Stooges, black and
Yeah,
white
I-
Give us an
television.
example, please. Just so that we know.
Let me see if I could say a sentence in Pig
Oh,
Latin.
no.
Yeah.
Let me see. Give me a sentence, and
Okay.
just one brief sentence.
All right. Let's say
And I'll say
how
it.
about get out of the house.
It gay out a of de aushe.
Yeah.
That's Pig Latin.
Oh,
Yeah,
How
it's
annoying that
it's
is.
so
You see
freaking stupid.
How stupid! It's so stupid.
Yeah.
And I have to say, like, having a lover who only speaks on Mondays, it might be one of those absolute impossible moments where Mondays might actually be enjoyable
Exactly.
and something that you look forward to.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I agree.
Monday
yeah.
would no longer have the stigma of being just a crappy day that no one looks forward
Yeah.
to.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah, that and can you imagine you haven't spoke for 6 days? How much conversation you'll then have on that Monday?
Yep.
Yeah.
And you know how awesome of a person your lover would have to be in order for them to win you over so much without speaking except for one day of a week. You know, that's
Yeah.
like that'd be a lot of effort on their part. They would have to be a really interesting and awesome person and very expressive person for 6 days out of the week
Yeah.
because they won't be able to speak.
And an awesome lover.
Yeah, that always helps, I'm sure.
If you
So I've heard.
if you're willing to only if you're willing to only communicate on Mondays, well then I'd imagine that your lover is quite efficient in bed.
Yeah, there's other ways of communicating, and
Absolutely.
yeah.
It doesn't say that you guys can't type or text or write letters. There's no stipulations here.
Oh, that would
So-
be
Fine,
wonderful,
then.
actually, if they just were
Yeah.
amazingly eloquent and wrote you these beautiful
Yes.
long letters. Just
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
I'm sure.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. There's no stipulation. So please write me beautiful love letters 6 days of the week, and then we'll just verbally chit chat on Mondays. I am game for that.
I have no interest in such things.
I'll-
I have no
What?
desire to get love letters from anyone. But
You say that
I'll-
now, but the thing is, you're saying this live to a chat. So
yeah.
Yeah.
all I'm going to say is
Yeah.
brace yourself.
Well, if I
Right.
got one,
Have you ever received a love letter, an eloquently written out love letter?
I've received a couple in my day. Yeah. But I mean,
Oh, okay, then.
it's fine. I appreciate it, but it's not something that I pine over or look forward to or think about any other time, except this is the first time I ever remember thinking about whether I would want a love letter or not. Probably my entire
No,
life.
I honestly would prefer that we could just text, throughout the week. Because like you said, it doesn't. The only stipulation that I'm seeing here is shh, whatever the fuck that means. But I don't know. I don't know how that is.
family friendly
whatever,
stream here.
but- oh, sorry.
No, you're
sorry.
good. Everybody gets one. It's fine.
That's my one pass. I've used up my Fs.
Yeah.
I would say Monday.
Okay. So all right, let me throw
I
this.
think
Let me throw
everybody
this in.
agrees.
Yeah, everybody
the
seems to
chat
be saying
seems to
Monday.
go Monday, yeah.
So all right, what if you can only, I mean, you can text and everything, but only emojis both ways.
Oh,
No.
Oh my gosh,
No,
that's
oh,
so
your
annoying.
lover can text you. You can text him whatever you want, but he can only text you back in emojis. That's
I
it.
would tell him to stop texting me
Just wait till
immediately.
Monday.
Don't ever text me.
So you would just wait for
Yeah,
Monday then.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it would be interesting to see how creative he might get. It would be interesting only for a few days. And then after that, please stop talking until Monday.
All right. We are. I want to end the stream at about 3 hours even. So that means we have about 3.5 minutes, and then I will go offline. And so actually, it's probably about time. This question wasn't even that interesting to me anyway. This last one. Be close with one person and only see them on Sundays, or know lots of people and see them every day, just not have any close relations, I guess. Which
it seems like a brainer to me.
Yeah. Let's just see what happens. Geez, how many? What kind of weird, shallow Instagram, Twitter people or social media people are over here? I think this is people from like ages 10 to 17. All those people.
Yeah, has to be.
Yeah.
Has to be. And just so you guys know, I absolutely cannot see the chat at all because I found that when I open up the live stream is when I become choppy. So, if you've said anything to me, I can't see it. I'm not ignoring you. I just can't open it.
Hey, well, you know what?
Anyways,
no worries. I want to talk to you guys for 1 second. The chat. Everybody listening, you've heard the lovely voices and stories and personalities of my 3 wonderful guests tonight. Ghost Mummy, Raven Lavina, and Stephanie Swan Quills. You've gotten to know them a little bit, and some of you, thanks to everybody who actually went over and subscribed already. But
yes,
if you haven't,
Thank you.
and just imagine having unlimited access to these lovely voices 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it's all for free. You too can partake in this banquet of delicious voice action.
Oh gosh.
And I'm starting to lose. I'm not sure what demographic I'm going towards right now as far as delicious voice action. That doesn't sound too appetizing, but I promise you, it's you guys will not regret going over there and checking out each one of these lovely ladies and their channels. So
appreciate that.
I want to say thank you guys so much for being here and spending a long time with me and my friends here in the chat. Thank you
so much.
Thank you
for
all.
having me. Yes, I had quite a good time.
Yeah, so did I.
And thank you so much for inviting me back. I always love hanging out with you.
Absolutely. And
It was nice meeting you, Stephanie.
Yes,
it was a pleasure meeting you, Stephanie.
Real pleasure.
Thank you so much, guys. And it was an absolute pleasure to meet you guys as well. I'm just sorry that I wasn't able to be here for the whole stream. Maybe next time.
oh,
No,
good.
we're glad you made it at all. It was awesome.
Yeah, and you know, you guys kept me company. You know, it's all good. I love you guys, and it was tons of fun. I actually did not have that much stuff planned for today, and you guys really helped flesh the evening out and make sure the ball kept rolling and everybody had a good time, and I appreciate that. So you know, you guys will be getting called up in the future, and I expect your full cooperation, and you will comply.
We will comply.
Yes, sir.
You will
Yes,
respond
sir,
when
Mr.
summoned,
Extreme.
and not. You will respond when summoned, and not in a chauvinistic way, but in a friend way, because we all care about each other. All right, I'm not going to dig myself into that hole.
My answer will always be yes. My answer will always be like, do you want to help me out with this? Yes. Do you want to be on the live stream? Yes.
Yeah.
That's me. That is
That's
what I
me.
love to hear.
That's what I am. Yeah. Do you want to live stream? Of course I do. Let's do it right now. I'm ready. Let's go.
Oh no, I was shy. I was scared.
Yeah, but you know what? You
are shy.
you came here without hesitation. You showed up within seconds of
Mr.
being
X, you
called.
welcomed me into the community. You know, I would practically do almost anything for you. Not everything, but almost everything. No, you.
That means a lot.
Of course, I put my stage fright aside for you.
Well, I'm glad you did, because you're an excellent storyteller. You guys are all really, really talented and impressive, and you know, I appreciate you very much. There was one more thing I wanted to say, and it's just I'm feeling so many feels right now that it just kind of left me.
All the feels.
Yep.
Oh my God, you were supposed to tell us about your dream.
You know what?
Yes.
Oh,
please, just quickly, please.
Well, okay. Well,
quick,
what was the dream? What was the dream?
Remember the dream I told you where I got shot? So you were going to tell us something similar?
Okay. Oh, okay. I remember. Yeah, the execution, being in line. All right.
Yes.
I had. Thank you so much for reminding me about that. And
I hear that one.
Okay, let's see here. I had this dream a long, long time ago. It's another one of the earlier dreams, and I don't know if you guys know this. Stephanie might know this, but my I'm called Mr. X Dreams because literally Mr. X dreams. Like I dream. I started my channel around dreams and the crazy nightmares that I've had, and like my first 5 or 6 videos were all stories that I wrote based on my dreams. And this is one of the ones that never really got into a video because it's really short. I wrote it when I had this dream. I wrote it in the form of like a poem, and I don't know why I did that. It's really cheesy, but I'll tell you the story as it happened. So in this dream, I just kind of, you know, when you sometimes just come into the reality of the dream, you show up there in the middle of a situation. You don't know how you got there, what's going on. All I knew was I was standing in a long line. And then as time went on, I was looking around. Every so often, the person behind me would push against me a little bit. In the military, we called it nut to butt, when you're lined up and you're kind of packed in so much where your testicles are literally smashed against the butt cheeks of the man in front of you. And that's how tight we were in this line. So I realized that I was shackled. And then the more I looked, I realized that I was dirty. Oh my gosh, I just got a super chat from Springtrap. Aren't you a little young to be
amazing.
giving super chats? Thank you so much. Thank you very much. And if you stole that from Joanne, your mother, I tell her I said thanks too. And good night, my dear friend.
Right.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
So I'm in this line. I'm realizing that I'm dirty. I have like these oil smears on me. I'm wearing rags, like as if I had been in prison for some time, you know, like, and back in medieval times that people would just kind of be thrown in prison. They would be wearing rags and they're just sitting there rotting in these stone-walled, you know, old rusting iron bar prisons. And it felt like somebody just dragged me out of one of those and threw me in this line. And everyone around me looked the same way pretty much. And there were literally dozens and dozens of people all in this line. And as I'm shuffling along in this line, my ankles and my wrists are bound by these heavy metal chains and shackles. And there's a mob of people just screaming and yelling at us. And as I look down the line ahead of me, there are all these people, and it leads up to this stage where there's an executioner, a huge, hulking, massive beast of a man with a hood on his head. and a large axe. Like, I'm talking about an axe with maybe a 2-foot diameter. Very big axe. And he's just lopping heads off one after another. No trials, no nothing. People are just screaming, hundreds and hundreds of people screaming in a mob as people just go up one by one, getting their heads chopped off. So, and I don't even think that they were taking the heads away. I think there was just a pile of heads underneath where this, where this executioner's chopping block was, and they just fell wherever they may. And as I'm looking at all the people in front of me, I see a little girl among us, maybe 8 years old. Girl, pale skin, dirty brown hair, and she's maybe 60 pounds. Maybe. Skinny young girl. And she's shackled and being pushed along just like us. And all I could think was how, and this girl's maybe 10 or 15 people in front of me in line. And I'm thinking to myself, how is this girl here? Why? Why would she possibly be here? Who would throw a little girl like that in jail and lock her up and then put her in this line to just be unceremoniously executed? So my eyes are examining this girl, and I see that a leather belt around her waist, something that no one else really seems to have. She's got a leather belt, and on that belt is a leather sheath with nothing in it. It's like the sheath of a dagger, but there's nothing in it. So I'm wondering, I wonder if this girl, was she like a thief? And did she kill someone? I have no idea. But I'm just staring at and just wondering, okay, this is crazy. I'm gonna have to watch this girl get her head chopped off. And the way she moved as we all shuffled along, this girl moved with this bizarre, like almost otherworldly, ethereal grace about her, the way she moved. She wasn't like us. I knew that. And but she was still dirty and ragged, looking similar to us, but the way she carried herself was so different than everyone else that just looked downtrodden, and she just looked like she was humbling herself almost. It's rather than just being a hopeless, downtrodden, thief who was caught, or a drunkard who, assaulted someone and is now has been arrested and is now being executed. So there came the time where it was her turn to get up on the chopping block, and the executioner forcibly pushed her down onto the chopping block, had her head down and her neck, right on that spot where he's been cutting everyone's heads off. He raises his axe and strikes down with all of his might. And as soon as the axe touched this young girl's neck, a blinding light just kind of erupted from it, and the entire axe shattered into like thousands of pieces, to the point where it was raining.
Wow. It
was raining on the people that were there, yelling and screaming, like the mob. We're just all showered with these pieces of this axe. And everyone was dumbfounded. It went totally silent, and the girl didn't move. She just sat there with her head still on the chopping block. And I looked out into the crowd and saw that parts of the crowd were kind of moving, like parting. And a man came out with these ornate purple and gold robes, an old man, with white hair and a long beard. And he raised his hands in front of this girl and said, "So long as the blade is whole, no harm shall befall this child." So in my mind, I was thinking,
Wow.
he was referring to the blade that goes in the sheath that was on the girl's hip, which I'd never seen. I don't know what it was, but he apparently knew something that no one else did, and that blade is somehow connected to this girl being completely invulnerable to harm.
Mm.
And I just, ever since then, and this is 15 years ago at least that I had this dream, maybe 20. And I've always wondered, like, what was that girl's story? Like, who was she, and what did she do, and what's special about her, and what's up with the blade? And it's something that's just kind of a story that's been in my head for so many years. It's insane. But yeah, that was the execution part of it, where I wasn't executed because everything stopped when they failed to execute the girl. But there was other times. Maybe next time we do a stream like this, we can talk more about dreams, because I have so much to say about that, about dying and being sent to other dimensions and being all kinds of crazy stuff happening. But yeah, thanks for reminding me to say that. I don't know if I've ever actually told that story online before.
It's a very intense, intriguing dream.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
How did you feel when you were lining up to be executed? Did you feel just fear, or had you sort of come to terms with it?
But before I could really think about that part of it, this is when I saw the girl, and I suddenly became more concerned for her than I was for my own execution. I was like thinking, okay, sure, all right, maybe I did something to get executed, but this girl, there's no way she deserves to be executed. That's all I could think of once she caught my eye. And that's an interesting point, because I never got to, I wasn't there long enough before I saw her to really face the fact that I'm about to get my head chopped clean off. Yeah, that's a good question.
More concerned with this
child,
innocent girl, and what is she doing here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. Axeman is in the house. Greetings, my friend. And even though I'm a black male and you're an adult white male, I am your dad. So thank you. Oh my goodness, Pumpkin Joanne.
Another super chat.
In the same family, she did say that Springtrap has her own account, and you guys, thank you so much, Pumpkin Joanne, and I'm glad you're feeling well enough to be able to be on the streams and stuff like that. I did this stream with you in mind as well, because I know last time you were really struggling to stay up. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And thank you for the kind words as well.
Very kind words.
That's very, it would be immodest of me to read that out loud, but Pumpkin Joanne said some very sweet and kind words about me, and I appreciate it. Okay.
Yeah, very much so.
Speaking of modesty, Axeman said, I had a dream that we built and summoned a dragon to have sex with a grumpy wizard to stop him from becoming a dark lord. Wow. Dragon wanted to bang you instead, which resulted in war. That is one of the dopest short stories I've ever heard in my life.
That sounds like one of my really out there dreams in a strange way.
Yes, I know what you mean.
How crazy.
Wow.
I need to start having dreams like this.
I think I'm going to have to write a story about that. I just might have to write a story about that.
They're a weird fun ride while you're dreaming them, because it kind of feels like you're on a roller coaster with your hands up, just like, whee! But then when you wake up the next morning, you just kind of lie there for a few minutes like, why was that in my brain? Why would I think those things?
Yep, and then you start feeling like you're weird.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Greetings, Michael Bird. Greetings. Yeah, okay. So we're a little over time, but I'm really glad that
oh my
you
goodness,
guys,
another super chat.
Wow, okay. All right, we're getting to the point now where I'm going to have to start sending you guys a couple of dollars to split this up, because you're just as much of a earner of these super chats as I am. Mullen M, my homeboy, Alex, thank you so much for 20 Denmark dollars, I guess. I'm not sure what the currency is called over there in Denmark. It's Denmark, right?
Danish krone, yes. Krona.
Okay, there you go. I'm sorry, I'm not a worldly man anymore. I'm not aware as I should be of these types of things. Kroner. Yeah.
I think I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Is it Kroner or Kroner? I'm not sure. I actually don't know.
I'm reading it Kroner.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you very much, my friend. And once I figure out how much that is in I guess US dollars, I'll know how much to divvy out amongst my lovely co-hosts.
Okay, don't worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see.
Right. I need to actually, after we leave this chat, go buy my Mr. X Dreams coffee mug. So that's what I'll be doing when we hang up here.
Oh man.
Oh, I've got two. I got two.
Oh yeah, that's right. You do. And I haven't gotten my photo from you,
Do you know
Ghost Mummy.
why?
And thank
Shall I
you
tell you
guys
what?
so much. Thank you, Raven, for getting ready to order that, and thank you, Ghost Mummy, for having one. And Stephanie, no pressure. I'm not trying to get you to buy anything.
When my paycheck comes in,
Stephanie,
I'll try
buy
and
my
buy.
merchandise.
Yeah, no, I
Buy all my merchandise.
I have
As
a
you-
feeling that it'll just pop up subconsciously in my dreams. Like every so often, you'll just appear holding a T-shirt.
yeah.
And just,
Right?
just nudging you with a mug silently, just right on your cheek, just nudging the mug into your cheek.
Do it
That's
now.
a good
It's like
idea.
Jedi mind tricks.
I wish I could actually do like giveaways with that stuff, but I honestly don't make. I have the prices set to where I only make a couple of dollars from each one. So if I put it up higher, I would make more profit. But then I'd be able to give away some. But I don't want to. I can't charge people for my little stuff that much. I'd rather just just make a couple of dollars and have somebody have something fun that they can wear or use and stuff like that.
Yeah. See, I'm going for the coffee mug because, coffee is vital to my living. So that will be the most useful for me.
yeah.
Hey, do what you got to do. I'm totally on board with that. I appreciate it. Hey, well, Alex, you said it wasn't very much, but I definitely appreciate it. It might as well have been, a Porsche or a Lamborghini. I appreciate it just as much. Not, I wouldn't go that far. I appreciate it very much, though. That's very nice of you, and I'm very glad to have people that would, contribute a little bit to what we do over here, and I love you guys to death for that. Oh, dreams of having a really nice aquarium. How did Galactic ruin that?
He told a story about a fish. I think it was a relative of his. Well, the fish said to a relative, "Wake up before you forget how." It's quite creepy.
Wow.
Actually.
Wow.
Yeah, I was. I was
wow.
trying to get that in, but you guys were on a roll. So
Goodness.
yeah, it was really interesting. I thought, God, wake up before you forget how.
Yeah, and a fish telling
Could
you
you
that,
imagine?
good looking
Yeah.
out, fish. That was really good advice from that fish.
Yes,
That's
it
crazy.
is. A friend had a dream where she woke up in a dark room. In the corner, there was a fish tank with a fish in it. It glowed, and the fish looked at her and said, "Wake up before you forget how."
That's insane.
Creepy.
Creepy, yeah.
Hey, you know what, guys? I did not know that it was possible for 4 people to have meaningful conversation at the same time on one of my live streams. So this has been an interesting learning experience for me, managing all this and kind of feeling out personality types and how you guys mesh with each other. I think this is a really good setup. So
I think that we, if I do say so myself, I think that we all mesh very well together.
yeah, yeah,
I agree.
yeah,
Me too.
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely.
We're
I
like
think we all have our own uniqueness and our own very different voices and personalities, and yet we mesh pretty well. So that's pretty awesome.
yeah, and it helps that none of us sound alike or anything, so people don't get confused. So that's always good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're
Yes.
definitely, this is definitely gonna happen again one of these days. My UK streams, I know, are lacking, but you know, if you guys ever want one, just give me a holler and let me know, and I'll make sure it's back on the agenda. And I try to
Okay.
get these out
Awesome.
every once in a while. But you guys will all be aware and probably invited, unless there's some other reason for me to have a different person on or something like that. Everybody needs to have their exposure
course.
sometimes.
Yes, yes.
0072. Greetings, my friend. Sadly, we are about to wrap this up. And please,
Yes.
if you would like, if you wait a few minutes, this video should be available in its entirety for anyone checking it out on YouTube. And if you want to just hang out and have some background noise and listen to all the awesome stories and dreams and discussions that we had, and you won't regret it, I don't think. And also, if you haven't already, check out these ladies' channels. The links will be in the description box down below. And with that, I will give each of you a chance to say goodnight and some parting words if you'd like, and then I will close us out. Whoever wants to go first.
I would just like to thank everybody that showed up and hanging out with us. Those of you that have subscribed to us, truly appreciate that. It means a lot. Every sub counts. So thank you for that. And, just, really thanks for hanging out and having a good time with us. I enjoyed hanging out. So I've said hang out like 50 times. I'm going to be quiet now.
I'd like to say thank you very much, Mr. X, for having me. And thank you to everybody that joined us. It was an honor. And I apologize for the little, blubbering session, but there you go. That's life. We're all human. But no, I really appreciate you coming. I really enjoyed myself, actually. So thank you very much.
No apology
and thank you for the
necessary.
subs. Thank you very much for the subs.
Yeah,
Yes,
no.
every sub. That's a soul. That's great. I'm humbled. Thank you very much.
That's all right.
Thank you so much to Mr. Extremes for inviting me back. And a huge thank you to Ghost and Raven. It's been an absolute pleasure to meet you and get to know you guys. And of course, a huge thanks to everyone in the chat, especially those who've checked out our channels and have subscribed to us. Yeah, it genuinely means so much to see your support and your comments and the love that you send to us. It just inspires us to keep going and to keep talking, keep narrating. Yeah. And I hope you all have a lovely rest of the weekend and a great evening.
All right. Oh.
And I do want to say thank you, Mr. X, for having me. I feel like the one asshole who thanked everybody but you. So that's it.
Hey, that's
jerk.
That's fine.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying it's all right. No worries. You all earned your keep today, and you can pick up your checks on the way out. You guys did a great job.
Before we sign off, Mr. Extremes, you might want to just quickly check the chat.
Yes.
You have another lovely super chat.
Another super Pumpkin Joanne again,
super chat.
Making it rain on yours truly.
Rain.
Say happy birthday to Ellie Mae, also known as Springtrap. The 14th, as it's her
Happy
birthday.
birthday.
Okay. So her birthday is on the 14th. I'm going to set a message, a little alarm for myself to wish her a happy birthday on the 14th. I'm going to do that right now because I will do the same. I will legitimately forget about that because I'm going to be extremely busy that day, but this is for you. I'll do it. I will do that right here, and you can prove that I'm doing it by trusting me and having faith, because I'm not going to actually show you my phone, but I promise you I'm doing it right now. So happy birthday to Springtrap on the 14th. All right. That is set. Good to go. All right. Thank you so much, Pumpkin Joanne, once again. And got a couple of other happy birthdays in there for Ellie Mae on the house, thanks to our lovely chat and listeners. So, yes, once again, Stephanie, Swan, Quills, Ghost Mummy, Raven, Lavina, thank you guys so much. You did a great job, and you helped keep things going, made it a fun, lively discussion, and I look forward to having this happen again as soon as we can, and I feel like I'm not the only one. So, with that said, my friends, I'm Mr. X, and may your nights be full of dreams. Good night, everybody. Love you guys.